in place of a gavel. Let's call to order the meeting of the City of Ocean Shores Lodging Tax Advisory Committee meeting on Tuesday, April 28th, 2026 at 10 a.m. at the Ocean Shores Convention Center. So roll call, George
Here.
Shannon Rubin.
Here.
Daryl Prowse.
Here.
Okay. And Eugene is not online yet. May I have approval of the meeting agenda?
Move to approve the meeting agenda.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, Eugene Kim, you're present now? You're muted.
Sorry for being a minute late.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, public communication. Do we have any public communication in the room? Okay, online. John,
Yes, can you hear me?
we can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much and good morning. I appreciate the opportunity to join your group today. First of all, I looked at the 12 applications and I just want to make a comment. The requirements for applicants looks reasonably good this year, but I want to remind you that as you consider applications, that what the law requires is that they have to be something that promotes tourism. That's one requirement. They can be for special events and festivals, and those can be run by anybody. No special requirements. And operations and capital expenditures for publicly owned facilities like the convention center, and operation only but not capital for non-publicly owned facilities, but only by an entity that is currently federal tax exempt with 501c3 or 501c6. And that's very important. I think today's format is for the committees to discuss the merits of each 12 applications. I want to listen to all that. I've read all 12 of them, and after hearing today's comments, I may have some comments at a later meeting. A couple of things. I'm really in favor of the city's project to renovate the Chance Oliver restrooms. And I want to make sure that you ask the question that the city does in fact have title to those restrooms. They used to be owned by the state. They have to have title, otherwise they would not qualify for LTAC funding. They have to be a city-owned facility. Next comment is I'm supporting also and really in favor of the work for the city to share with two other groups and on video promotion. I watched the video that was given, not presented, but available from the last council meeting. It was excellent. I'm really in favor of it, but I have a question. This chart says $33,000 request, but I saw two invoices for $33,000 totaling 66. Please clarify whether it's 33 or 66,000. And finally, the ADA compliant honey buckets on boardwalk businesses. There's really a need for doing that, but you have to consider whether it's going to be a workable solution. I understand the problem there, but a single honey bucket without water may not work with weekly servicing, and the crowds likely, especially what you see gathering, the big protest crowds in front of the boardwalks. But you first need to look at whether that applicant is a 501c3 or a 501c6. I did not see that application. Otherwise, they shouldn't even be being considered. And my last comment, if I have time, I'd like the finance director to explain why there are 3 columns on the finance sheet. Normally, the left-hand column would be presented, but there's 2 more columns that show just the convention center by itself and the 3 city-sponsored functions. And why were those broken out? Is there any particular financial reason for doing that? And thank you very much. We were listening and may have some comments at later meetings. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Okay, well, one of the new items we have added to our meetings are presentations for the fund recipients. So I'd like to call Butch Larson up to talk about the New Year's Eve Beach Bash 2025.
wasn't prepared for that part. But first, I want to thank the LTAC committee for the funds that we received so far. Pretty cool. The reimbursement works really well. We've got 3 bands lined up for New Year's Eve. We've got Creedence Revelation with Randy Linder is going to be there. We got Flashback Nation, which is a cover band doing 70s, 80s, and 90s music. We've got Leah Justine.
Butch, this is the one from 2025, not,
Oh, last year's?
yes.
I didn't have any LTAC funds from last year.
Do they have budget?
Yeah,
Yeah,
That was the year before.
We have funded in March of last year.
Which year? One year I didn't get funds. And I can't remember. I thought that was last year.
They gave you in March. So just tell us how your event went in 25.
Huh. Well, we lost about $400. That's all. But to us, that was a success for the amount of money that we had. So we had over 300 people that showed up at the event. And it went really well. It was really successful as far as we were concerned. I don't remember getting that. I thought that 10,000 was the second year we were here. You sure?
Yep, pretty sure.
Okay, well, I trust you, Sarah. So, yeah, it went really well as far as we're concerned. Yeah. So, and the hotels that we contacted were very happy. I know, like, the Grey Gull was full, the Polynesian was full. I tried to get into Canterbury, we couldn't get a room for the Canterbury. We had one room minus that we didn't have comp for, and it took us all over the town. Finally got one room at the Mar Vista. So is what we got for that other person. Other than that, as far as I know, I mean, I didn't contact the hotels, but we were trying to find a room, and we couldn't get a room. So
Okay,
that's it.
that's it.
Okay.
Beachcombers and Glass Float Expo.
Do I have
I
to
don't-
stand or can I stand?
You can stand,
All right,
John.
I can be loud.
It's your choice.
We've got I speak well with, visuals. We're gonna go really quick. Beachcombers and Glass Float Expo. We had another great year this year. This was the 40th celebration. Coming up. Okay, we're gonna get there. And so a couple things. This was when it was started. You might have seen in the paper. So 40th year, Allen's big last year to start going. Back in the good old days when you could get Rainier Beer sponsoring the very first one, and this was at the early convention center when it was about 2 years old. For those of you who aren't as old as me. Next one. Alan Raymer, who was there at the beginning. This was actually started at the request of the then Chamber of Commerce Merchants Group, because Alan had been involved in creating the very successful shows in Oregon, in Seaside. Okay. Great. This is what it used to look like. It was all events, all entries, and no vendors in the olden days. We took over after Diane and kind of reimagined it under Beachcombers Heritage to refocus going into the next generation. Beachcombers and Glass Float Expo is now the event. We've already built a following of about 45,000 people on social media. We're very engaged in that way. Glass float release is one of the things that we get funding for. It's very popular. It brings people. We start on Valentine's Day weekend. Just keep on going. And so we put these out with float ferries who are local here. And it really brings people back. And that's the kind of thing that people love to see on social media. I'm going to take my family to the beach. I'm going to engage like the old days. While we're going through this, starting in mid-February, we actually track all of our social media. We have a team of people that are doing social media, predominantly Facebook, a little bit of Instagram, and we do countdowns. And we find that really engages people. Countdown to the float release, countdown to the event. The event this year went great. We actually do paid admission for adults. Families aren't counted, but one of the things we do is we count and engage with everybody that comes through and gets a wristband and a ticket, where they're from and why they came. And so our numbers are actually very direct. And this gives you an idea what it looks like when we're actually in the show. Very well attended this year. We had the full parking lot almost all day on Saturday, Sunday with a little light because of the weather. And keep on going. We have Dash for Trash that we start 2 weeks in advance. And we also engage with a number of the environmental and government groups. We had a great speakers series this year. And go one more. And so this year, that was actually a poll from the Daily World Report, who was actually here on site talking about the light at the door, the fact that when people came in the door, we engaged with everybody where they're from. And we aren't the biggest by any means, but I think we keep good track of what we're doing and the metrics that we have. So this year, we actually saw a bump in, next one, getting to the end here. We're up in the number of people we're tracking from out of Grace Harbor. So we know we're going to get a lot of local people because of the it's a local event. It's the off season, but we think we're dragging a lot of people in. And no, one more. And this is kind of the end of it, which is, yeah. Oh, we love pictures of float finds. And it's again, it's a kind of instant story that plays on social media that gets people to want to come. And so we really do hammer on that quite a bit. And we would like to come up with maybe a little bit more integrated method to tie into Now Visit Ocean Shores. You guys are starting to come out with a really solid platform. And being able to engage and share across those, I think we'd like to do more. That's a feedback from our social media gurus. So that's my report. We're going to be sending in. We did receive an early reimbursement we had prepaid for the hall, right? And we will do one more for the floats coming up with our final report. Questions?
No question. Have you thought about doing something in the higher tourist season where you maybe put something out with little tags that say, if you found these, enjoy our festival that comes up and with the date, so that you're like because obviously there's more people here in the summer, right? So maybe if you put, I'm not saying an exorbitant amount of floats out, but every so often you put some floats out with a tag on them about the event, that might draw more out of town visitors to the event in an off season.
No, I appreciate that. And because float release is tough when we get into Summer Beach. But this year we did experiment with 2 cycles of geocached markers, where we actually created a point to point to point to big find. And we've actually have discussed that about doing that as a seasonal marketing intro. That's a very fine idea.
Maybe if you don't even find them at the beach, but you find them at you partner with a shop or something, or like on a hotel property, like we have a crab, it could be placed by the crab or something.
But by the crab last year.
But that's something like, it's just a suggestion, because then you are specifically have a higher propensity to find an out of town guest that may come back in an off season, especially if they think it's cool.
Excellent. And we are trying to figure out, and of course, in our cycle, we ended up by the time we get our award letter and our contract on January 20th. And I'm putting floats out. I've bought floats and I'm putting floats out. And so we were fine because we understand reimbursement base. That's how we operate in the South Beach and other LTACs. So, but we had a very short couple, and I feel like we really haven't cracked the nut on the specific engagement to the hoteliers. It's like, can we get a list? We had like 2.5 weeks to really start. Knowing now what you guys want to try and do, I'd probably change how we do that engagement to be more direct. And figuring out hotels over here is always fun. Who's open? Anyway, that it? That was a great question. And it's the geocaching thing we really like, because it's bringing in that next generation folks.
Right.
Our old 80-year-olds aren't out there with their phones chasing geocache locations, but the young guys are. You good?
Yep.
You want to talk about
Thank
that?
you. And,
Talk about
and
that later.
first time, John, I found a float this year.
Awesome.
Awesome. Yeah.
Well, everybody always asks, there are 931 out, and between the show and social media, 500 were reported. And a few of them ended up in British Columbia.
Wow.
But that's a good story. All right, thanks.
Thank you.
John, did you want to add about the
Wanna load that up?
statistics?
That other,
Yeah,
load that real quick. I don't mean to take up too much time. But for those of you that know me, I've been on LTAC and Ocean and Westport for the last 9 years. And talking to Scott and Frank over and a few other folks and George and Denise, I was going to share one of the things we do in Westport is we've developed over time where we have a monthly cycle where we look at multiple specific campaigns. The campaigns basically seasonally, but then we also track. Okay, so we have a monthly update cycle. We go through this fairly quick. So we look at things that we're doing with our destination marketer. We very heavily control our destination marketer, and they report to us. Okay, so we shop. We actually got them to help us with additional funding grants last year because we're hiring them to work, and they're our experts. Next, we do quarterly digital. So we look at our year over year, our performance on our numbers, and all of the SEO metrics as well as social media. We get regular reporting. So this is kind of keep going. So we do website summary. We look at what we're getting. We look at how that's performing and how we make changes. We have website report, traffic details, ongoing. We do organic social media and we get monthly. This is actually from a quarterly, but we actually subdo this within each month. So we look at what we're spending on. Instagram spend. We're looking at boosted advertising. We're looking at what I call campaigns. We talk a couple times a month. We're going to have a campaign or a blog to focus on and develop new content that we can put out. These are some of the new things that we do. So probably what I'd like to share coming out of this is, while giving money to events and we have a capital account as well. Every month we are looking at multiple campaigns and looking and reviewing the numbers with our destination marketing partner to really watch what's working and what's not working. And we're constantly addressing that. And I think that's one of the things that we've learned that's really helped us in recent years. We got up to a point where we got pretty content, but then it has to actually start moving and changing. And then we have to follow what's working. So, and if you're going to hire a destination marketer, as I've said, this is the expectation you can have when you're paying $150,000 to $200,000 a year for somebody to partner with you to execute this kind of stuff. Okay.
Okay, thank you for sharing that.
Did you bid that out?
Yes, we operate on an RFQ scenario. And actually we've had some issues where we get somebody and we've had some people and then they want to do it forever. But as a municipal entity, the city has a responsibility to make sure it's current. And so we regularly have carried over a contract for a renewal. But I think last time we did one after the third year, we're like, we love you, but we're going to do an RFP. And we lost somebody because their feelings were hurt. But in the big picture, the city council ultimately is responsible for that spend. And I think it also keeps it kind of fresh. County does the same thing. County's doing theirs on RFPs, and they have a 3-part lodging tax kind of group doing destination. And so that allows them to roll those vendors through, cycle them through. But yes, we do. RFP.
Okay,
Thanks.
thanks, John. George, you're up next.
Well, how am I supposed to match that? Way too much to say. So on Razor Clam, we were blessed with some decent weather this year anyway, as opposed to last year. The expenses on it were around 61,000. The profit off of it, what the revenue was 71,000. So it showed about a $10,000 profit.
Okay, how do you compare it to previous?
Well, I mean, I think over the last couple of years, we've been able to bring all of these festivals to at least a break even or profitable thing. And that's what it should have always been in the past. So we're working hard to get those numbers even better and just going from there.
Well, congratulations on that.
But just to add to George's point from the financial perspective, this is, if you recall, last year we asked, or we put this into our operational budget and didn't ask for additional funding. This is baseline now. So if we want to build that festival up, that's where we want to be able to come in the future and ask for additional funds if there are additional things that we can do for that event specifically. And that was just the good faith, like, let's see how well we can do at baseline and move it into the operational budget. But this is baseline. If we want it bigger and badder, now we've established that we can assume this into our operational budget, and any requests that come forward is because we're doing something more at that festival.
Any other questions?
Thought the marketing was better this year.
Okay, moving on to new business. Another thing that we have added was the reimbursement request review, and I hope you had a chance to look at those online. They were, I think, 88 pages is what Nicole said, so I know I didn't print mine out. So are there any questions on those? George, Shannon, and Daryl signed them. Thank you for taking the time to do that. Did the process work okay for you?
Yeah, for the most part, worked out pretty good. Sometimes it was kind of a short timeline to get the signatures done. But if I had a couple, 3 days, then it works out all right. Yeah.
All right. Well, if there are any problems or changes you see to that, then we'll bring it back to the committee.
I think from an administrative level, what it's done is given that second set of eyes where Nicole's done a really good job. As the LTAC committee had said, like, when you ask for this is what you're getting reimbursed for. There's been some situations where things have been requested that weren't a part of their original package or approved. And the committee and Nicole together have caught those things and done due diligence to not reimburse on things that weren't approved by the body. So.
And the other part of that, of course, is to make it transparent to our constituents. So I appreciate that. The funding budget, it's actually not going to be presented by me. It's going to be presented by Sarah Logan.
Listen to. No, okay.
Do you have?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I got it. So similar to what we did in October, where October you actually saw, I believe it was 4 or 5 scenarios because there was holdback for the convention center. The committee had discussed that in a way of these are your options. We did the same thing, and I did talk to the LTAC chair, which is Councilmember Sayers, on how we wanted to see this. So your first scenario is if everything were to be approved, this is where we'd be with the surplus, if everything was approved. Secondly, because we know that the city and city-owned facilities can do capital expenditures out of LTAC dollars, and then of course the convention center, which should always come first and foremost, was scenario 2. And then as always, and as I've always put on every LTAC request and award summary, is just the convention center, because as you know, that is your #1 priority when it comes to our LTAC dollars. So that is the reason that there's 3 scenarios, as there were 4 or 5 in your original request in October. So in the event that the body recommends the full expenditure of all things that were applied for, it would be a total of $511,079, which would leave about $26,000 in surplus. Again, scenario 2, which is just the convention center approvals and the city capital project expense approvals, it would be $112,278.90 that you would be expending, leaving $424,971 for surplus. And then only the convention center would be at ask of $57,438, leaving a vast amount of surplus money. How we came up with the surplus money, staying cognizant of our kind of hotel fun right now, is that we took what was anticipated and predictable revenue for 2026. We did not include a beginning fund balance. So what we currently have, we did not include that in our surplus amount. But what we did do is take away out of our expected for 2026 what we expended in October for 2026. And that's how we came up with the surplus amount of $537,250 for the LTAC committee to look at.
When you were doing your calculations, did you remove Shiloh, whatever they were contributing from there?
Unfortunately, we did not do it in that. We did the expected amount because what we have seen is an uptick in bookings at other hotels and a little bit of an increase, it seems. Not that that'll offset the Shiloh completely, but that's also why I wasn't willing to include the starting fund balance of where we are right now, because I believe it gives us that cushion so that we're not expending more than we anticipate receiving at that. It was kind of my, there's no way I'm going to see exactly what Shiloh's doing the whole time, along with the others that aren't performing to the best of their capability, but it gave us that cushion because in past times when they've done the surplus, it's just everything we didn't expend in October or November's approvals, and then the starting balance with whatever's residual. So that was kind of the cushion, and why I wanted to explain kind of how we came up with the 537, and that's where I feel comfortable. Anything above that, I would not.
Any questions? Okay, well, we can keep this in mind as we go ahead and take a look at what the applications are. So if there's no further questions on that, let's move to the first application, which is from George and Sarah. Oh,
I'm missing that page.
you're missing that page. Do you want mine?
Oh, it's just
Yes, it's a request for $57,438.09.
That word is.
So the first capital request was for a camera system. That's $16,393.78. As you can appreciate with the conventions getting much larger and the amount of people that are coming in and out of the convention center, at this time we have no internal camera system. So if there's ever an event that transpires or something that needs to be monitored, there is no way to do that currently with the convention center. They do have the external camera system, which is one that's tied in with the rest of the city. But this specific request is so that the cameras can be added to inside for convention purposes. I'll take number 2 and you can take number 2 for Sand and Sawdust and Razor Clam. We use that massive tent that's out, and this was year 2 where the entire city employee system showed up because it tried to blow away in the windstorm, and it got damaged the first time, and then this time the damage was unrepairable. So we do have ways of that not happening in the future, but unfortunately, that is what made us request one, which is way more durable, I think, than the one that we had previously. And we Did we rent that one?
Which one?
The,
The old one?
yeah.
No, the
Yeah,
old
the
one
old
was
one.
actually, yeah, the old one was actually given to us by, oh yeah.
Oahu,
But,
yeah, so it had been used and not abused, but it's big and you would think that it wouldn't blow away, but there was at least 20 of us on one side holding it down with a ton of cars around us, so that is a request. It is a must specifically for Razor Clam and Sand and Sawdust. So that was for 16,143.64. And then you can do it.
Yeah, then the remaining amount is to replace the Ansel system in the kitchen. It's antiquated. It's a wet system that's tied into a foam. And the foam canisters now are obsolete, cannot be replaced. So they'll have to go through and just replace the whole thing. And it has to be there or we can't operate the kitchen at that point in time.
Okay, so to clarify, that's the fire suppression system. Okay, so again, that total request is for $57,438.09. Any motion to approve or more questions for George? Sarah?
So is the fire suppression system part of the need for having a commercial kitchen?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Approve it.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
I
Okay. Yeah, I think if you can, one of the things that I know this is based on the application, looking at the evaluation and sort of improving a way of doing it is something that Eugene and I have talked about, and we're going to bounce some ideas for bringing that back to the committee. Okay, is Becky here or are you?
Becky isn't, but I know that Xandra was gonna step in for her, given that this is a project he knows all well about.
So I'm mostly here to speak on the effect of the IT that's included with this project, but I'll go ahead and read what she has here for you.
Okay,
The proposed upgrades focus on modernizing and improving the functionality, security, and user experience of the Chance a la Mer restroom facilities. Facility enhancements include the installation of new hand dryers, sinks, soap dispensers, and upgraded plumbing components to improve cleanliness, efficiency, and overall usability. Door and hardware upgrades, replacement and enhancement of door locks, closers, push plates, and occupancy indicator deadbolts to increase durability, privacy, and accessibility. Structural and cosmetic repairs. Minor repairs include latch plates and paint to maintain this facility's condition and appearance. And security improvements, installation of a modern camera system including panoramic cameras and supporting network equipment to enhance safety, monitoring, and incident response capabilities. Technology and connectivity, addition of network infrastructure, power over Ethernet switch, wireless bridge, and antennas to support reliable camera operation and connectivity. Overall, these upgrades are intended to improve public safety, extend the life of the facility, and provide a higher standard of service for residents and visitors.
okay, and that request is for $21,840.81. So do you want to explain for us, Xander, the IT portion of that?
Sure. So the camera system that we're proposing are two quad cameras systems that are panoramic bulbs that would be fastened directly to the bottom of the soffit on the west corners of the bathrooms. So that would give almost a full 360-degree view of the building, the approach, the traffic, everything all around it. The reason that they're all on the west side is because the doors all open with hinges on one side of the building. So this makes sure that the privacy is maintained and everything in that sense. So to get network connectivity down there, we have to have a point-to-point wireless bridge. So on the top of the convention center, there's already cabling that's out for a previous project that was ran and no longer utilized. So we plan to repurpose that to create a wireless bridge with the bathroom so we can see the cameras and join that in with our intercity network and security system.
Yeah, question, go ahead, Shannon.
How long, so with the camera system, how long is the footage stored for if there's an incident? And then my second question is if anyone knows if we own the restroom or if that's a state-owned, like.
We own it.
We do, okay.
I believe that the retention period in the policy is 30 days, but I think that we hold it for 45.
Ours overwrites after 7 days, so I just wanted to make sure it was a longer period of time.
For public record standpoint, we're required a minimum of 30 days. Yeah.
I wouldn't mind, well, one thing that wasn't addressed in the application was camera signage. Something that says you're being recorded, or also as a not a theft, but as a deterrent to all of abuse, and maybe even additional dummy cameras.
Sure. We have discussed possible use of a dummy camera in the single blind spot on the east side of the building. But I think that signage would probably be required in that situation.
And Becky she does that with all of our things like that. So I would anticipate that if they're a nominal fee, so I think that's probably why she didn't include it.
Yeah, it's probably not well, but yeah, just some signage that this is just for security purposes, so people that use the place wouldn't abuse it.
We're happy to give Becky that feedback also.
I also had a question about the automatic locking. I know one of the complaints that we hear are the people who are sleeping in it overnight, and people trying to use it in the morning being confronted by that. Do you know how the automatic locking will work?
Similar to the parks, so it'll be I believe it's sun up to sundown or something at a certain point of time, like we have that in our parks ordinance. So they will be automated and they can change them per the season. So summer would be later, winter would be much earlier.
Can you extend them on specific event dates too? So for instance, if you have them, I'm just throwing this out there. So in the summertime, if they walk at 9 o'clock, on 4th of July weekend, obviously people are out well past 9 o'clock. So can you do?
They can program them for anything.
It'd be great for New Year's Eve to have it much later. And 4th of July.
Okay, any other questions? Motion, approve,
Make a motion to approve this application.
all in favor?
Aye.
All right, the bathrooms are approved. Okay, the next one up is the Tang Como Tourism Marketing from Scott Anderson.
Hi there.
Hi, and the first thing we need to do is to clarify what you were asking for.
Absolutely. So originally, as you know, we were going to bring 2 items before LTAC. The one we ended up needing sooner than the LTAC process because we were in collaboration with the county and the city of Westport, and they were for advertising and they were ready to move forward on it. So I didn't want to delay that until the LTAC process. I'd be holding them up on their schedule. And so that was approved at council. And the one you have before us now, it's really a continuation of a contract that we've been working off of. It'd be a second year of it. We've done 2 episodes of Como's Seattle Refine and 2 episodes of King 5 Evening Magazine. We're trying to focus on things that obviously bring people to Ocean Shores, but also focus on things that people just might not be aware of here. We did one on our canals and our sort of our fresh waterways and different things you can do in nature that didn't just include the beach. We focused on some of our local businesses, We focused on like Las Viaja. We had a special little segment on that, a special little segment on our place. Featured, kind of the candy shops, things along the boardwalk. These have been really successful. They're getting a lot of really positive feedback. And so we'd just like to continue that. We've got one idea for like a pet-friendly Ocean Shores. If you want to come down here with, you got yourself and your dogs on the weekend, where can you go? Where can you stay? What else? Can you go to Ocean Pours? Are there the hotels that would cater to pets? So we've got that one sort of planned out. We've got another script that I'm sort of writing that's going to kind of target our festivals. That'll be marketing, sort of hog wild and showing people. It'll be much more specific to certain events that we will do. And we're just looking for the $33,000 to continue that partnership. And they will give us 2 more segments of each, in addition to additional advertising that they'll be affording us. And so, I am working on something that's not going to make the LTAC process 1. This is with Q13 Fox. We've been talking about things. There's been a lot of talk about how to market the World Cup to get tourists to come down here. We really can't. I flipped the script on it, so I've come up with a different marketing idea, and they're really happy with it. It's not a part of this, but it's obviously Seattle's going to be absolutely packed for 5 weeks with hundreds of thousands of people. It's very difficult for us to market to Belgians or to Egyptians that are coming to watch their matches. But what we can market to is people in Seattle that want to get away from it all. You're tired of the traffic. There's hundreds of thousands of people. Your restaurants are packed. Your bars are packed. Come away, get away from it all for 2-3 days and come down to Ocean Shores and leave your worries and your stress behind you. And we're looking at that with Q13, but that's not a part of this proposal. It's just something we're looking at. And like I said, this is just a small piece of our marketing strategy. And I know that there's other things you want to talk about on that domain. So,
Well, any questions for Scott on this particular request?
I just had one question. So within the outline,
sure.
there's 4 times Ocean Shores library stories and 2 times full evening magazine shows. I'm just confused on the what is that?
The library stories?
Yeah.
Because
I have a hard time funding something. No offense, but I don't think a library is putting a head in a bed.
No, I don't.
So it might be the verbiage.
I think the verbiage is off. To be honest.
But
yeah.
We're not
No.
showcasing the library.
We are not. No. The only.
Any library lover.
No.
But
The library is not going to ever be a focus of our stories. No, I can assure you that.
I want to make sure that we're not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, the idea is really just, hey, what's the Ocean Shores? I don't know. That's kind of what we focused on the first 3 episodes. Like, everyone knows the beach. No one ever goes off of it, but there's so much more to Ocean Shores than that. You've got things like the Weather Wax. You've got the Oyhut Bay. We have fine dining that we never had really before in some ways. That's, greatly improved your culinary options. So anything that will draw people down here and anything that will kind of indicate how close we actually are from the Puget Sound region to draw people here.
Okay, so the amount requested is now 33,000. So please edit your application and motion regarding it.
I think this is a great idea, and there's some tangible things that you get from this that you can see, and that everybody within the community can also see the results of this. So it's not a hidden thing. So I'd make a motion to approve this as requested.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. That is approved.
I want to ask a follow-up question. I know we discussed. Yeah, please. Oh, no, you were.
Oh, I'm just asking if you would stay up for the next request.
Stay for the next one? Sure, absolutely.
Okay, and the next request is Ocean Shores Community Tourism Marketing Campaign from Asset Labs, Jeffrey Kelly.
Hello, I'm Jeff. Nice to meet you all, some in person for the first time.
Would you like me to present on this?
Yeah, just let, the amount requested is $309,150. So I guess the first question is, what are you, presenting to us? It looks like a full marketing campaign.
There was a presentation deck that I hope you've all seen as part of the application. And what this represents is a significant investment in creating a way to actually see the chain from we're spending money on marketing activities through here are people who've shown up in town, hotels they've visited, events they came to, their demographics, that sort of thing. It's empowered by some technology at the base, which is some websites and some advertising, a whole lot of analytics and reporting. You saw examples of the same kind of reports that we provide earlier today, but then also a mobile app to help track where people actually visit while they're here. There's a big component of any kind of campaign like this to work directly with hotel managers, business owners, community events to power what goes into that mobile app, make that something of value to people who are going to visit. And for us then, as the people working to bring people to Ocean Shores, that allows us to then have a lot of information on where we spend money to bring people and then who actually shows up. And so this then positions Ocean Shores with that whole technology level to have really good data coming in about the people we attract. And then in future years, this would be used to further leverage events, right? We'd have a lot of intelligence on the demographics of the people actually coming. And so that would let us push more funding to events that we know are bringing the right kind of traveler or travelers who are going to spend more time in town than, for example, just driving in and driving out. That's kind of the foundation that we would provide as part of this effort. And this would definitely be something where if we continued to collaborate in future years, we'd be able to then leverage this first year, which is very much getting a lot of things in place. There would be some things like the mobile app that would probably come toward the end of the summer peak season because of timing, but that would set it up well for next year.
Okay, so I guess the first question for you, and Scott, you came in a little late, but John Shaw gave us a bonus presentation that we were not expecting, and it was on how Westport tracks its tourism. And he mentioned how Westport goes out, as well as the county, they go out with an RFP for their marketing. So that's the first question I have for you is we have this proposal. Is this in response to an RFP that the city has done?
No, we have not done an RFP to, we have hired a marketing firm that is doing work for us, but it's a small contract. But no, if the real question, so I know there's a lot of great marketing work that's being done. I know George is doing everything he can to promote the convention center. I realize that Seer and is trying to like kind of help us brand things. I'm trying to do the creative content side to the best of my ability, but we don't really have a whole ecosystem picture of marketing for the city of Ocean Shores. If you're saying, would it be good to send out an RFP to what I would like to do, quite honestly, is say, find a firm that does marketing, review everything that we're doing and say, this is what you're doing extremely well. This is what can be improved upon. Here's what you're missing altogether. And incorporate that into a general marketing strategy that would come from a third party that would be experts in the domain of marketing. So we can evaluate what it is working for us and what isn't. And then where we're missing altogether, where we're missing demographics. So that's what I would like to see. And with all due respect, that's precisely what this is. So it doesn't include a report of, for example, a SWOT report of strengths, weaknesses, right? Because that wasn't how I was engaged to come review marketing for Ocean Shores. My team, of course, absolutely then dug into everything we could see, all of the existing activities happening online, the availability of information, well, the lack of information flowing back into LTAC about events and investment. And so this represents not some sort of cookie cutter, here is what we would apply to any city. This is very much specific to Ocean Shores and
the gaps we see and the opportunity to have a lot more data and deploy then funding in future years based on the data around visitors as opposed to the vision of visitors.
Yeah. Does anyone else have questions? The other question I do have, and you know, is from the council perspective, is that we have had other companies contact us about this, and whether it is in response to an RFP. And I think that would be, you know, very difficult without having competition for this amount of money.
You said that your firm was engaged. So who engaged you to look at Ocean Shores, I guess, is my question.
Yeah, Brandon was the first person to ask me to have a look at Ocean Shores of Seer Media, based on his understanding of prior contracts that had been made for marketing and the opportunity to basically bring the capability that my team has. Brandon and I have worked together on other projects, other clients. You know, he understood once he had vision into what was happening here that there was a whole other level of capability that Ocean Shores didn't have. So that's when he said, "Hey, Jeff, come in, take a look, see what you guys would do here." And it was really obvious that it was really apparent to me why once he said, "Please come have a look."
Any other questions?
Yeah, I'm looking, one of the things we've got is a high quality tourism media library.
Yes.
Is this library, would it be like, are you looking at camera footage or completed shows?
It's a great question. This would be a combination of photography, aerial video, so drone video of events and areas and businesses and hotels. It would include video assets from the same. And so as part of this year, one of the things we would do to empower social media, websites, things like that, we're going to need a lot of these assets. That then becomes ownership of Ocean Shores. It could be used in media, any kind of media, TV spots if it made sense, but any kind of other media the city needed to work with, that essentially all of those professional assets become assets of the city.
So you're talking camera footage?
Camera footage, video, photography, and aerial.
One of the things I don't see in your application, since this is an LTAC thing, is the use of any local businesses to help support this activity.
Oh, so I forget what word I used in there. As you look at the budget page, there's a lot of time built in here for engagement with local business owners, with the hotel. Whenever I say, so community marketing engagement and support, the third line item on the budget page, directory and event data, ongoing build and expansion. I'm building in a lot of time for someone physically here, knocking on doors, meeting with people, providing a much deeper level of information around businesses and what's there, hotels and what are there, the events and what a traveler could expect. Because that's what's really going to power the ability to attract people through things like the Google Business Profile, people searching Google Maps, so the mobile app. So it's definitely part of an ecosystem build. And there is absolutely a business directory already present. And this, you know, the business directory line item in particular would be a substantial expansion in depth on what's there so that we could provide a lot more information to travelers.
I was actually curious about engaging production people, because this is a retirement community. You have a lot of folks that are experts in a lot of the things you're talking about.
Oh, you mean, so I mean, having somebody local provide things like the media library? Absolutely. Yeah. So part of our effort, you know, we have a team that we often work with, but having people physically here, having, you know, people from this community who have the appropriate skills to help collect this, absolutely. We would bias toward that every time if we've got the right folks here. Aerial videography, for example, is one that is often difficult to source near the coast. But if we had somebody who had that capability,
you've got licensed people here that
yeah. So if we've got that capability, yeah, I would absolutely want someone here to be doing it.
So a question for you, Scott. You talked about, you know, trying to create a general marketing vision. When do you expect that the city would be looking at doing an RFP for that?
I mean, we could do it soon, but ideally it would be tied to the next LTAC funding cycle to do it. I think that's how we would look at it. We'd have time to put it together. And then the next time LTAC reopened, we would come back and
And that
do that.
well,
Yeah.
You're gonna miss a lot of execution time. I mean, that is the cycle you've got, right? I've been in LTAC in the town where I live, but you're gonna lose a lot of good execution time to get out of the hole you're in now.
and
For many years, so.
we have been in a hole for many years.
It's not gonna hurt for another 6 or 9 months or whatever. Yeah.
I'm not
And-
trying to be mean or.
No, no, I'm not interpreting.
Welcoming of the idea, I think it's prudent to do an RFP just because we already spent a lot of money and that was wildly unsuccessful, in my opinion. And there was a lot of controversy over it. So as an LTAC member, making this kind of recommendation, I feel like it's not fair in the playing field of other people that may have had an interest for this specific thing. I'm not saying you're not the most qualified by any means. It's just, I personally would have a very hard time not having anything to compare.
For sure. Do you have the ability, as part of how your LTAC works, to allocate funds to the city for the city to then operate an RFP, as opposed to the LTAC receiving? I'm sorry, what?
Yes.
It would be at the next LTAC funding cycle.
Oh, so City of Renton LTAC, for example, has the ability to allocate funds, if you, not specifically to an application like this, but to allocate funds that the city can then take out to an RFP at that time, as opposed to needing to run it through the LTAC process. So I just bring this up because I know there are some other mechanisms you could have if you didn't want to wait on that.
Yeah, the city has already made its request for LTAC funding.
Okay.
So,
I had a question. I did a little bit of background search on the company. And so one of the things that you had talked about in your presentation was SEO optimization, which is search engine optimization.
Right.
Optimization. I guess that's double. Anyway, so I did a search on, I did a search for Renton marketing companies, and Asset Lab Marketing came in as number 9 on page 2, which I was kind of surprised that you didn't do the search engine optimization on your own company. So I had some concerns about that, to be honest.
Okay.
Any comments?
Search engine optimization is an area where, for a business, we focus on the target market of that business, the target customer. So my goal for the website for Asset Lab is not to rank on every possible term specific to Renton, because in particular, my customer base and the people we work with are not just in Renton, right? Our customers are all over the country. And so Renton actually represents, from a sales and revenue standpoint, does not represent a significant amount of what we work to achieve, people we help, and that sort of thing. So from a search optimization standpoint, that's not a term that we would spend money to focus on improving.
Can I follow up on that question? So in terms of your customers and where they rank in terms of search engine optimization, where do they rank typically?
It changes a lot. And the real honest answer is that with AI in the mix here recently, Mr. Kim, you probably are well aware, it's very much changed how SEO works recently. And so, the things that worked from a strategy and tactics standpoint 2 years ago don't apply the same way now. So these days we're spending a lot more time building, mini FAQs onto individual web pages, so that as people ask natural language questions to AI, pages are ranking in AI, in ChatGPT and Bard and these other platforms as sources. So the SEO game has changed a lot in the last 2 years.
I have a separate question. Oh, go ahead, Shannon.
No, you could go. I've asked a lot.
Oh, I was just sort of curious. So there's the initial investment in terms of building out the ecosystem, the social ecosystem that you want to develop here. What is the sort of anticipated reoccurring cost to maintain and to keep this going year over year?
I honestly did not look at next year, so I'm not prepared to give you a number, but just general guidance, I would say the hosting security and time around the two websites, the management time would probably come down. So I think that's the last line item in each of those categories. The mobile app, that would be a direct contract between the city and the mobile app provider. That's not something that Asset Lab, we're not building a custom mobile app. We're leveraging an industry standard app there. So that would continue. The time around empowering business directory and events information, that line item would very much benefit from staying in the future, because that's what's really going to power that mobile app and the business directory data that people are going to use to discover and come and enjoy while they're here. So there's definitely pieces of this that would scale down. There's pieces of this that would go away. And depending on where you go from here, I'll be able to provide that information as a preview if you'd like, or not, depending on what you decide to do from this point.
Okay, can I have a motion?
I had one more question.
Oh, go ahead, Shannon.
So in your examples, there's two really of what you've already achieved, and I'm assuming this was working with SEER.
Yeah.
So there's two examples, and one of them has 17,707 views, and one has 1,764 views. And I'm just wondering why there's a disparity, like there's
Such a difference.
Correct.
Yeah, what I'm working to communicate there in that what have we achieved already is to show that the low-hanging fruit's kind of laying on the ground. These are posts created and not promoted. And so the audience is there with the right kind of content, the engagement is there, and then layering on top of that, when we do have the right kind of posts to promote, there's plenty of eyeballs available for us to go after. So that's what I was working to communicate there with that particular slide.
I have
Okay.
one more question. Sorry.
No, that's
just-
okay. I'm sorry, Eugene.
Or yeah,
I have to start looking up.
Okay, sorry. Just as an example, I mean, I think you put an example of major event campaign funnel, and I think on like the second page or third page there was the awareness is like Sand and Sawdust Festival, and then I believe it's the mobile app you would develop plus Facebook. Is it only Facebook, or is it across all social media platforms? And then my follow-up questions after that is on a per event basis, or would we be charged, or is this part of a monthly fee? Like, how does that sort of work?
Oh, so the budget request in here is the budget request, and that would be a budget, right? So a significant portion of this is time, staff time spent on engagement and various things. And so I don't expect that we would be actually charging the full amount in this request. This is a budget for us to then work within. So that's part of your question. The next is around campaigns for events. What I wanted to show there is that when we start 3, 4, 5, 6 months in advance on marketing planning and execution for an event, we get a substantial benefit. So an event, the marketing window for an event is not 2 weeks, it should be 6 months. And we're going to lay that out in a strategic way. So that was not to imply that there would be charge separately for that. That's all built in this case. And since, from a schedule standpoint, this probably wouldn't contract and get started until late May, or let's see, council would be next month. So it would probably be June. There'd be an adjustment to this in that aspect as well, because we're not starting at the beginning of the year.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? A motion as to action on this?
Thanks, you guys.
Thank you, Jeff. I mean, I will just say again, I think with this amount of money, it would be very difficult to get it past council without any kind of RFP. And the fact that we have had other companies contact us regarding this.
That's my concern, just a
I
comment.
mean, it sounds like a wonderful proposal. I mean, I do have to say that.
Yeah, I just made a note that I thought that the presentation was good and I think marketing is needed. However, I believe that an RFP would be appropriate, especially with the amount of getting it through council and then also for community support. I don't feel like I could vote appropriately and feel well with the community, especially with all the pitchforks that were after the last one. And I don't think it's fair to a business to, even if he's the best thing since sliced bread, I don't think doing it without an RFP is appropriate, just because I feel like any slip up he makes is going to be magnified on whatever company is picked for this based on the prior experience. So I don't, with all due respect, think that that's even fair to a company to make that motion without an RFP, just because of what happened.
Okay.
I looked at the schedule and on the proposed schedule, it's like 6 months out. Well, that's all that's left in the year. So this is, instead of 6 months out, that would be October, November timeframe. So everything else is, there isn't much time to get everything done.
Okay. Did you have a comment, Eugene?
No, I just think that we shouldn't rush a decision. I think we should be prudent and really be selective. Be selective after we understand what we don't know. So yeah, I think what you said makes a lot of sense, and I can't wholeheartedly say approve right now at this time.
Okay, so can I have a motion for a decision?
Is it motion to decline? Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
He denied it.
Yeah.
I'll second, but I'd like to ask that we consider going out. Reestablish.
Yes, I agree.
So that's feedback to the city's.
Yeah, and something the city needs to do. So
All in favor of the motion to deny?
I'm gonna recuse myself from this one.
Okay,
I'm a little too close here.
okay. So I will vote aye to deny, but we have 3 anyway. Okay. The next is the 57th Annual Arts and Crafts Festival. Do we have presentation, Jim and Leslie? Mhm.
My name's Jim Wells. And I apologize, I'm struggling to hear the speakers, but are there any questions?
Well, the request is for $6,000. And can you just explain what it's for?
It's to add to our proposed advertising budget.
I have some questions.
Yeah, go ahead. Yes?
So you didn't come for money originally, right? Like round 1, the first round, you didn't ask for money?
I guess. Round 1, we didn't ask for money.
Okay, and my understanding was that was because it was going to go away. So it's not apparently going away. So I guess I need clarification on, because it's not going away and you're now asking for money, is it going to be controlled by you and staying for, like, if we fund this year, is it going to be here next year? Or is it you're trying to run out any funds that you may have and it's not going to be here next year?
That's a good question. We have funds and we would like to put this on at least one more year. We'd like to put it on continually, but since COVID, we've actually grown the attendance, and based upon my look from previous years, we've actually increased attendance on lesser and lesser budgets each year. but we're down to a certain amount of money that is left in our accounts. And rather than just fold the organization up and disperse that money, we can put this on one more year for sure. And if we can build the organization back up and we can get support from larger corporations, donations, grants, things like that to continue it, then we can continue it beyond the 57 years that it's been happening.
Other questions? Yeah.
Yeah, I looked at the at your proposal and on it had the 2025 marketing budget, and that's what I think is the most important thing about this event is trying to get people here. And then putting on the event could be kind of up to you guys. But when spending that marketing money, I'm looking at, you had bus signs in Lewis County and some other things that I'm not sure if I agree with, but there are marketing outfits here in town. Have you talked to those people?
Have we talked to marketing outfits here in town, or have we just been doing this off the cuff? Where?
Yeah, at Aberdeen.
Okay. You got, Leslie, what was that? Rick?
Can you come to the table, because that way it'll be recorded. We do Rick Moyer through Moyer Media in Oak Rim. And we've used him the past 3-4 years. So what are those activities that you're planning on marketing? We do radio stations. We have our own board members who do Facebook and so other social media, but also Rick Moyer will also add to that his things in radio stations. They will do ads, and he's done this Seagull story. He's done like for 2 or 3 years, and he's continuing it every year, and he promotes through that. And then just a lot of signs, printing. We just printed 2,500 rack cards that we'll be putting around the town, hotels, and anywhere in the Grays Harbor area that we can place them at.
Yeah, if I may speak to your question, I think the bottom line of your question was outreach, getting out beyond town and seeing if we can bring people from outside of town. And that's a great point. And I think we should do more of that. I believe that the effort to put signs on the buses and things like that to outreach to the greater harbor, Grays Harbor, and all the way to Centralia is something that we can't really sit here and ask for $16,000, which was our original discussion of what we might put forward to marketing and advertising, without having numbers that say these are the marketing outreach that we've used and this is what it's returned. And we don't have that history. So we're starting to look at how we can do more and how we can reach out a little bit further. And if there are marketing organizations in town that know how to do that and do that better, can better spend that money, then I think it'd be great to talk to them.
I'm just looking at your page 5. So just trying to clarify, you're asking for $6,000. Here you have your marketing and advertising listed as $7,000. And on the prior year, you spent $9,000 on marketing.
Right.
So is this a reduction in marketing, or is this a supplement to?
It's a supplement. It's a supplement. And there has been a reduction in marketing from previous years. So, I went back through the previous year's budgets. This is the first year I've been involved in actually the organization and the planning of this event. But I went back through some of the previous year's numbers, and we have, from a historical standpoint, we've spent as much as $16,000 on marketing, and the total budget's been as much as $46,000. But over the past few years, and definitely since COVID, since 2022, we have started with 4,800. I believe it was 4,800 people that came, and we have increased those numbers every year. to date, and we have done it on less and less money. And primarily through the work of the volunteers that have busted their butt to put this on.
Any questions regarding AAOS? No questions?
No.
Okay, motion?
I'll make a motion to approve a lesser amount of half. The reason for that is I do believe it provides someone something to do while they're here. However, and with no disrespect to either of you, I've said this every single time it's come up. It's Labor Day weekend. They are already here. I asked your predecessor that it be moved from Labor Day weekend when he was awarded money previously, and he said he would consider it. And then the very following year, he laughed and scoffed at me and said, well, we wouldn't get anyone to come if it wasn't on Labor Day weekend. That's how your artists sell stuff. I'm not but at the same token, I don't think that even increasing money for advertising is going to do a whole lot, because I think that people are already coming to the beach for a fun time. So I do understand it's something that's gone on for years and years. I do think it adds to the tourist experience, but I think we would be remiss if we said that it's really maybe the vendors, but I don't necessarily think the travelers. And feedback from me, if you're going to try and do this going forward, you have to have a better system than a county ticker system at the door where you count George going in 25 times, because that doesn't work. You actually have to go to hotels and ask who booked for our event to be able to quantify heads and beds and attendance. But I'm happy to fund half the $9,000.
I'll second that. Okay, yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
May I?
good for half.
Sure.
I appreciate that. I do understand the issue for Labor Day weekend. I've only been here 11 years in town. And when I first came here, this organization put on 3 different things.
Right.
And I'm a photographer and an author. And it really, I felt like this town was moving towards a definition of an arts community. And I came from the Laguna Beach area and Carmel, and I thought, wow, this is really a city that supports the arts. And we have what, 6 art galleries in town. We have a lot of people that identify as artists and try to sell their art throughout the Grays Harbor area. I'm in a gallery out in Montesano. I understand that Labor Day weekend, and I apologize for my predecessor, who, by the way, I'm not the president. I'm just a member.
Right.
But yeah, if you were spoken to that way, that's inappropriate.
Even the weekend before, because my thing about this is there's softer weekends in the summer. Labor Day is not it.
Got it.
Okay, so the weekend before, the weekend after, where it's still nice weather, but it's not Labor Day, somewhere, to me, it's an easier sell if it's not Labor Day weekend, just like anything on Memorial weekend. It just makes it harder because you already know, like, Labor Day is the last big weekend for people with kids, especially. And so it's great. I grew up in Orange County where there was Sand and Sawdust Festival. So that happened in the summertime. I'm not opposed to things in the summer. There's softer summer weekends. Labor Day is not it. So that's my feedback for you guys.
And that's good. I think if we are to go forward, and this is just for Leslie's sake, and we'll bring this back to the board. there's two questions that I'd like to leave you with. What's going to fill the parking lot with vendors and bounce houses and things to do for the kids, for the people to come here on Labor Day weekend? That's something that you have to consider if we abandon Labor Day weekend. And then the other side of it is that for 57 years, this has been done through the elbow grease and the legwork of a lot of people who've never been paid for it. And the struggle we're having right now is human input and energy and people who want to build the arts in this community. And
I'm not taking away from it in the slightest.
I understand
My
that.
kid has
No.
taken up arts because of this community. I get pictures. I had no idea that she could even, let me just say, it's a far cry from the stick figures I used to see, whatever she's producing now. And I'm sure it's through the organizations here. But again, I just think even if you need it in the summer, the weekend before Labor Day is a little bit better. And from a hotel's perspective, I will tell you that my rates on Labor Day weekend are going to be a little bit higher than the weekend before or the weekend after.
Sure.
So
Sure. No, I think it's great. I would just like to, if we were to pick another weekend, I think it would be great if the city, if the LTAC, if the people involved in this would help guide us to something that would benefit all of us in that way.
well, hopefully this one's a good weekend for you.
All right. Thank you.
And thank you for all you do
Good.
and in terms of putting on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I add one more thing? I'm so sorry. And this is something that the hoteliers can do better too. Like maybe we can work directly with you guys to set up like promotion codes or something for a specific weekend. Shannon kind of touched on this a little bit. Just is it really bringing heads into beds in from this event? Like I think we can do better about how we can track that. So maybe that's something we can take offline for in the future.
Yeah, that'd be great. Everything that's been tracked has been legwork. And like
Yeah,
you
for
said,
sure.
counting people coming through the door and going to the hotels and saying how many people came from out of town and compiling things on clipboards. If there's a better way to handle that, let's do it.
Awesome.
Thank you, Jean. Thank you. Okay, next request is for ADA compliant honey bucket for the boardwalk shop owners association. Is Patricia here? Hello. Hello, can you tell us a little bit about your request? And the request is for $1,036.10.
Yeah, to the best of my ability, that's what it's gonna be. As if the busiest tourist spot, I believe, in Ocean Shores, we're kind of in a bathroom desert where we are. So the ice cream store on Point Brown has a bathroom, and we send people over there, which is not always convenient for the elderly on a cane or little kids, or we send them across the street to the arcade, because there is just a lack of public restrooms in one of the main busiest tourist areas in Ocean Shores. So that's why we're requesting a bathroom.
Okay, so do the stores not allow any public to use? Because they
Correct.
must have restrooms.
They do. Most of them are used because the standard square footage on those buildings is about 750 square feet, more or less. And there are bathrooms in them, but most of the time they are also used for storage or display pieces and merchandise, and product. So it's not very, I don't think wise for public to go in and utilize a space that has both product and displays. My bathroom is rather full myself from personal experience. And so I don't think it's a safe environment for the public to go into. So it would be a liability if somebody go in there and then all of a sudden a display stand falls over on them. Or also there's product to sell, that's my backstock area as well. And so it does, it could be a place for loss as well if the public is using that space.
Questions?
Sure. I believe Dawn said that she doesn't qualify because she's not in the category of a nonprofit or so you're not a nonprofit or anything like that, correct?
Well, I'm the new kid on the block over there and I'm the secretary. So when I put out, I was told by the previous president that we're a nonprofit. So, but now that Dawn has brought up whether we're a 501(c) or a 501(c), I would say we're a 501(c), but no one can, that has been in the organization longer than I have can provide me with a certificate of one way or another. I was able to get a certificate of existence from the state, but not of our nonprofit classification, but I would lean that it's a 501(c).
But we don't have any verification of that.
I don't have a formal document, no ma'am. When I talked to our treasurer, the only thing he could produce would be the certificate of existence.
Well, I'll be the unpopular person here. I don't have a problem with it. Even if you were a nonprofit, I have a problem with supplying restrooms to a business concept that should have thought about public usage. And my concern is that if we provide you a restroom, then when Mike Doolittle's restroom or someone else's restroom is being inundated with like, where do we draw the lines of restroom providing? And, there's not good parking over there either. So are we going to start building parking structures? Because, it's just with LTAC funds, like I understand how this enhances tourism and I'm not trying to be unpopular here, but are we going to have honey buckets all up Point Brown because we start funding honey buckets? I think it's more of a comprehensive issue that the city perhaps needs to look at. Maybe the city needs to have honey buckets occasionally placed throughout the city. I don't know what the solution is, but I don't think that it would behoove me as a member of the LTAC to vote for this when there seems to be like, I understand maybe the city working with certain businesses along Point Brown to have more strategic honey bucket placement, if that's what the resolution is. But again, it's a business. It would be like the Canterbury having no public restrooms in a hotel. Like we lack storage space too, but I still have to have accessible restrooms. I can't take over my restroom to have storage space. So I'm not trying to be mean, but I have a hard time using LTAC funds for this.
Any other comments or?
I would agree with Shannon on that, especially if we approve this, who is going, where's the next one going to go and where's the next one going to go? And that's not what we want to see going up and down Point Brown. It's porta potties everywhere. And I also, from being one that has to have porta potties for events and stuff here, don't really think that 1,036 is an accurate number.
Not even for 2 months. It was only for it's just for high season. It's not year round.
It says June through September on here.
It was June 7th to September 7th. So it would be
June 8th through September 8th.
Yeah, 2 months. Just during high season.
Yeah. And is that based off of one cleaning a week? Is that what you're looking at?
Yes.
Tell you that's not if you're maintaining that you're in
and there's an additional, he called it kind of like an insurance policy that you pay for, and they'll come out more often. But it also covers the bucket in case somebody sets it on fire or breaks the lock off of it or something like that. That was factored into that as well.
Yeah, and I know it's a walk, but earlier we did approve a refurbishing of the city restrooms. And I do understand it's a walk from Point Brennan. Or 10 restrooms, 10 public restrooms that are available there. My concern would be similar to what George said in terms of setting precedent.
As a user, I think it's a great idea. You know, as a tourist, I think it's real important to have someplace to go. Especially at my age. But yeah, I think it's a great idea.
Okay, can we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to deny this one.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor of denying this?
Oh, if I may, George, make a comment.
Let's go. George, yes or no? You're making the motion to deny. We're just taking the vote now.
Yes, to deny, yes.
Okay, so,
No.
okay. And Eugene?
Oh yeah, I thought I seconded it. Yeah, that decline on my end.
Okay. All right, so it is declined.
Thank you for your time, but I do feel that there needs to be something done, whether it's from the city. We do need additional bathrooms, even if it's just for the high season in those high traffic areas. Because yeah, going to.
Thank you for your input on that. Yeah. Okay, the next one is advertising on Highway 101. Jacob.
So this is a different type of request from the Coastal Interpretive Center to LTAC. And that's because we've done a substantial amount of work investing, rebuilding, revitalizing our digital and physical infrastructure over the past year and a half. And we've also done a lot of.
Just interrupt a minute. The request is for $38,000.
I'm sorry.
$100.
We've done a lot of in-person research. We're always looking for low-hanging fruit where we can leverage a little bit of dollars with a kind of low lift opportunity and create a moderate to high impact. And we found that for a lot of travelers moving around that circumnavigating the Olympic Peninsula, that Highway 101 loop, especially those that are making their last stop really at Lake Quinault before going home or making their first stop over on the other side, they're not thinking of going to Ocean Shores. And in fact, they treat Grace Harbor like flyover country. And there are many, many travelers, therefore, that are not participating in tourism here in Ocean Shores. Additionally, one of the reasons as to why they're doing that, they are nature-based tourists. They're looking for outdoor recreation opportunities, but they feel like they don't have a helping hand to turn to that is a local authority on outdoor recreation. And so this request is focused on marketing to utilize the Coastal Interpretive Center to create that local authority and to encourage people that are moving along that loop already, they're opportunistic travelers, to then come here to Ocean Shores to experience more outdoor recreation opportunities that are here. Happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, I have a few questions. You already received $20,000. It was actually 20,520 for communications and marketing in November. So why is that not being used for this?
That's for our general museum activities. It's not targeted specifically at people moving around the Highway 101 loop. We're in this request looking at doing different things and additional things that were not included in that request specifically.
And it appears as if you're also, let me wear that. You're also looking at staffing for this?
There is a little bit of staffing included in this, yes, for in-person outreach.
I was not clear whether that in-person advertising, whether that was covered by the Grays Harbor LTAC for the the National Forest Foundation.
Covered in part. It's very expensive to do as much in-person outreach as we're doing. And so we've had to cobble together a variety of sources in order to make that possible.
Other questions for Jacob?
You do? I probably agree with you with the location of the Coastal Interpretive Center might be more effective and useful and hit more people if you're at Lake Quinault than you are here at the end of the road. The one thing that so advertising for Lake Quinault to come here may or may not be part of your purview. I think it should be a bigger umbrella of promoting for Ocean Shores itself. But it's a good idea to hit those billboards along 101. We try to divert people to come this way on a detour. One thing I really liked was your idea of the Coastal Connections radio show, this weekly radio bit. I think that's a great idea. The Polsa Museum does something similar to that, where it's the weekly history of Grays Harbor. And I think this idea is great. But I don't think you have to buy radio time to get it on the air. I think if you was to create this, KOSW, the Aberdeen stations, Centralia, Chehalis, the Olympia radio markets would probably play it just as a filler because everybody's always looking for content. So if you was to make this stuff, I think you could get the same effect without having to pay an NPR station to carry it, although they're hurting for money as well. And I think that's not a bad idea to kind of spread some of the wealth, but there's a lot of opportunity here in town. Even the Pacific Beach station would probably play the heck out of it.
Yeah, so I appreciate both those comments and let me try to address each in turn. So I think, there's multiple different aspects of this proposal, and the purpose of referencing Lake Quinault is to demonstrate that there are a lot of opportunistic tourists that are there in person, and that is that last point of leverage before they head home if they were going south, or if they were visiting there for the first time, that first point of leverage to pull them over here. So it's not just Lake Quinault, it's the entire Olympic Peninsula that's being considered. And to the point about radio, again, it's part of kind of multiple facets of this. We want to reach people in the Thurston County up through Pierce County up into Seattle as well, and demonstrate to them the variety of possibilities of outdoor recreation opportunities here. And so I agree that there's the opportunity for programming created by us that can be used for free, but there's also the necessity to advertise that programming as well. So it's a little bit of both.
Other questions on the budget? Other proposal?
You mentioned that the CSC can operate this project with reduced funding. How much would that be if it's reduced? Like, what's like the minimum?
Well, it frankly depends upon the amount that is reduced, and therefore, which aspects of this the committee chooses to fund. To be quite honest, compared to previous proposals that were presented today, this is, for instance, a tenth of the larger marketing proposal that was proposed. And so, while I understand it's good to be judicious with the funding, reducing this even by half would really neuter the effect. There's a limited number of components here, and we're trying to do as much as we can with very limited funding. To be very specific with you, Eugene, if you were going to reduce the funding, I would say you need to entirely eliminate one component. But if it's just a percentage reduction, then I'm not sure how we would work that out. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. So for example, there's the line item of $21,900 for CIC-led outdoor activities. Like, I'm just trying to figure out like what is like a lower hanging fruit that will bring in more people, etc. So like I'm just if you can help us on identifying sort of the lower hanging fruits and um sort of the outputs, projected outputs for those, I think that'd be helpful.
Um, Let me try to answer your question tangentially or sideways.
Sure.
So we came up with this idea by doing a lot of in-person surveys and a lot of in-person outreach last year. And so we don't know the best way to reach the entirety of that potential market because I don't think that it's been attempted necessarily in the way that we're referring to in this application before. And so I mean, I agree with you. It's good to look for that low-hanging fruit, like I said, and try to leverage that. But in totality, I'm not sure what that is because it hasn't been attempted yet. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, in some sense, it's sort of trial by fire that what you're asking for. Let's just try it out. Let's see how, what's going to happen, right? And I'm trying to figure out the opposite.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I would quibble a little bit with the words. I would
Sure,
say
sure.
it's
Sorry, I'm probably a
expanded
little,
what
yeah.
we've done
I'm a little
already.
rough around the
Very
edges right now.
successful.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay, so I just want to clarify again, it looks like on page 7 of your proposal, you have in-person advertising and then you have CIC-led outdoor activities. So adding those both together, you're really looking at 29,000 of this is for staffing. Is that correct? Am I reading this correctly?
I don't have it in front of me, but I believe so, yes.
You need a copy of it?
Thank you. Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so that's really it's indirect in a sense marketing because those people will be doing other things.
We found last year that it was very direct. We pulled people directly from those programs to then visit our museum, which is the way of tracking them.
Okay, but in-person says includes all staff time, materials, and expenses for staff. I mean, that seems it's a little bit beyond the, 5 or 10 minutes of telling them to come down to Ocean Shores, assuming that in the tours of Lake Quinault, they will also be talking about Lake Quinault. Or am I misinterpreting that?
The time that we're spending in these other locations that are not in Ocean Shores are to talk about those areas, definitely, but it's also to talk about everything else that is in Ocean Shores and the outdoor recreation opportunities here. So I couldn't give you a minute-by-minute breakdown of the amount of time that we're spending talking about the area in which we'll be as compared to Ocean Shores specifically, but the purpose of that is to demonstrate the connections between outdoor recreation opportunities where we're meeting them physically and those that are here in Ocean Shores.
I'm just having a difficult time of connecting 29,000 in staff time to bringing people in for heads and beds. Are there any other questions for Jacob?
Well, I would be in favor of in looking at this proposal, the only thing that I really agree with is the radio spots, making 30 commercial spots, but I don't think you need to buy the time. I think you could create these things and produce them. 30 1-minute spots, people do these webcast things for free all the time. So I don't think it's a lot of there's some research going into it to figure what you're going to say. It has to be factual, but then to have it, the only production that I would see would be creating a jingle or something that would be to make this spot the same feel for all of them. But I'm looking at probably $3,000 for that
Instead of 13,000?
Yeah.
What
Sorry.
he said. I don't think that the billboards are that bad. Because they're much further north and they're in a different, like everyone sees the billboards coming from Seattle, right? But the people doing the Olympic Peninsula, depending on how they've gone, they may not have knowledge of Ocean Shores. So it might pique some interest if there was a billboard up there. And to Daryl's point, you know, radio ads are radio ads. So that's, you know, there's that. But to your point, I have an issue with the labor.
I have another question on the CIC-led outdoor activities, and this is just my own perspective. I'm just thinking about people looking for experiences, and then somehow those people are also booking at the hotels. Is like, and it's for 16 weeks. When are those 16 weeks? I have like more questions that I'm getting answers on how the budget would be allocated and what for what purpose, etc. So I think I just need a little more information, I think.
I'm not sure what question exactly you're asking there. There seem to be several embedded in that.
Okay, so I'll just go by line. So I'm gonna stick with the CIC-led outdoor activities. Are those people that you're hiring to take folks who are interested in this naturalist tours? And that's the first question, I guess.
Are we hiring a staff member to lead those tours? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Does the 21,900 for 16 weeks cover in Ocean Shores? Is that better?
Yes, thank you.
That's essentially what you're asking, right?
Yes, thank you.
What does it cover? I'm sorry. What does it cover specifically here in Ocean Shores, or what does it cover in general?
It says in Ocean Shores and North Beach area. So what 16 weeks does it cover? And like, is it from June 1st to whatever date, certain days of the week, certain hours? Like what does the 16 weeks?
Sure. So that's a period of 4 months. So it would be the middle of May to the middle of September optimally, but depending upon funding, that date can be pushed back, right? We're choosing those dates based upon the highest amount of outdoor recreation tourism here. The sites that we're choosing, and I think are referenced in the application, but I can repeat. This year, we're experimenting with kayak tours for the first time with our partners at Oyhut Bay. We do tours at the Oyhut Wildlife Area. We do tours at the Weatherwax Natural Area. And then we also do tours slightly further north at the state parks. So that is Ocean City and Griffiths Pride State Park. We have experimented with tours at Seabrook. We may or may not do those depending upon funding. And then, of course, we have done tours at Lake Quinault as well. And all of that taken together is what's referred to as that Ocean Shores North Beach area. The tours are a component of the activities that we are doing. So in addition, trailhead tables would be setting up at a popular outdoor access point and simply spending time there, acting as that outdoor concierge for people, getting them engaged in natural resources and the remainder of the activities that the area and ourselves have to offer. And then additionally, there's interpretive talks. So those are not moving through a natural area. Those are located at a specific area like Ocean City State Park. All those activities taken together are what constitute that entire period of time. So I recognize if you were just considering walking tours, that might seem like a very large expense over a very long period of time. But to pay a well-trained, typically master's holding staff member to staff these periods, these places for 4 to 6 hours at a time, or 4 to 8 hours at a time, is a costly endeavor. We've seen that there are benefits to it, as we did last year, but it's a time and labor intensive process.
Can you speak to those benefits specifically?
Sure.
Quantifiable benefits? Yeah.
Sure. So one benefit is more granular information on the visiting public, and some of those figures were included in this application. It's always good to have more information to better plan marketing, advertising, and touristic efforts. The second is to create more advertising potential by pulling those people into Ocean Shores, as we saw on a very limited basis last year. And the third is to increase brand awareness and brand penetration of Ocean Shores, the Coastal Interpretive Center, other outdoor recreation opportunities, which otherwise wouldn't be reaching those people.
So I want to point something out, and again, I'm not trying to be negative or pick on you, but I have a problem with this. In your application, it says the CIC has not worked with the Ocean Shores Convention Center to promote this specific project. If awarded funding, we will, in order to coordinate messaging and digital radio advertising campaigns to ensure the efforts are not duplicated. Further, we want to ensure efforts of the CIC creates to establish ourselves as the local recreation authority are reflected at the convention center. The convention center has been here a long time. So to not have that component and to have that only based on this is odd to me. But the other paragraph that really bothers me is in summer of 2026, the CIC is working with Oyhut Bay Seaside Resort on guided naturalist tours and the interpretive talks in Ocean Shores. We welcome the opportunity to work with other outdoor recreation focused businesses. So it seems to me that if I'm a hotel or a point of interest like Oyhut Bay is, where they have a lot of retail and commercial over there and they're doing lodging, they should be funding some of the staffing. Because if I was leading tours out of the Canterbury back behind my trail, the expectation would be that I'm somehow contributing to you and that it's not all LTAC based. So I'm finding the CIC tours, 16 weeks at 21,900 is definitely going to impact one specific organization a lot more using funding of everyone else's.
So it sounds like there's maybe two implicit questions in there. Let me start with the second. Working with Oyhut Bay, we've chosen to work with them because they are providing the equipment free of charge. So that is a significant contribution that is being made by them. Second, our staff is stretched extremely thin. So for us to try to coordinate a potential advertising or marketing campaign with the convention center without guarantee of the funding to be able to pursue that campaign is just simply not time that I have. And that's why it's referenced in that ex post facto way.
What is the equipment value?
The equipment value of the kayaks? I don't know what the depreciated value will be over multiple years, but if you have 8 kayaks and they're each $500 to $600 plus the remainder of the gear like PFDs, paddles, you're looking at a value somewhere between $8,000 and $10,000.
Well, don't we have like public launches that don't benefit one specific place?
We do not have the ability to provide kayaking gear, nor do we have the ability to provide the liability insurance for that kayaking gear.
So they're covering all of that.
That's correct.
And if we don't give this funding, then does their little program go away or are they going to fund it?
No, they are not going to fund it.
Okay, are there any other questions? Is there a proposal to fund full, partial? I heard Daryl mention the radio advertising instead of 13,600 would be appropriate for about 3,000.
Correct.
Shannon had mentioned the idea of liking the 12,400 for the physical advertising for the billboards. Is there any other input or as to full funding or partial funding?
So what the figure you just came up with was about the 15,000, is that correct? 12,000 for billboards and 3 for.
Right. That would be 15,400.
15,400.
I'm partial. I'm also considering the digital advertising, especially if it's specific to Ocean Shores. But yeah, I'm partial to that as well.
Okay.
But there was already 20,000 in the prior one, correct?
Oh,
was.
that's
Prior
yeah,
LTAC
okay.
application included about $2,000 for digital advertising, which is enough for us to do very limited advertising. It is not enough for us to opportunistically target people that are moving around the Olympics.
I added those three up, and I'm talking about page 6. And somebody has to absolutely check my figures. I got 18,300 if we were looking at that page. And that would be including the digital advertising, 3,000 for radio, and the 12,400 for the physical.
What was that amount again?
18,260.
18,260.
Could be. That's not what I added up, but I'm sure you're closer.
12,400, 3,000, and 28,60, correct?
Yeah.
18,260.
Is there anything else that people would like to add to that? Is there a proposal for funding, either full funding or partial funding? A motion, I should say.
So I'm trying to add up the figures myself. What was the amount again?
If we go with the digital advertising for 2,860, and then the request for radio advertising is 13,600. Daryl suggested 3,000 for that. And then the physical advertising for the billboards is 12,400. So that would be 2,860, 3,000, and 12,400.
Would like to place a motion to approve that amount, whatever that adds up to.
Okay, 18,260.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Motion has passed, and it is noon. Can we take like a 5-minute break, a stretch break? Okay, let's reconvene after our short break. Let's reconvene City of Ocean Shores Lodging Tax Advisory Committee meeting on Tuesday, April 28th at 2020. So the next one up is Bites and Sights of Grays Harbor from Jessica. Is she online?
I am. Hello.
Hi. And the request is for $10,240. Can you give us an explanation of what you're asking for?
Yes, absolutely. So first off, I love hearing all of the different ideas and everything that folks are doing, and I'm really excited. We just wanted to jump in with a proposal if the city feels like it's a good fit. We're currently in the process of editing the first 3 episodes of Bites and Sights Grays Harbor, which was a show that we developed that's very heavily focused on my own personal obsession with travel. That the first thing I do is I look at where am I going to eat. Sometimes I look at that before I decide whether or not I'm going to even go to the place. So it's a show that we're making that's kind of in the vein of the Food Network HGTV. It's going to showcase like a signature travel-worthy dish and then give you an excuse of something to do while you're there. So you can defend why you drove 3 hours to have a donut, because I've had to do that. So that's really the theme of the show. We're not looking to sell this. It's very difficult. Like even diners, drive-ins, and dives. I mean, those are $150,000 per episode. They take a week. Restaurants have to close down. We wanted to do something that was accessible for, any business in Grays Harbor. And I don't have the network connections to get this on HGTV, and just the way things are going is a little different. So where we plan to host this show, which is going to highlight, again, Grays Harbor areas, activity, restaurants, businesses, and really just kind of, again, convince all the people that tend to drive through Grays Harbor to stop and stay a few days as they're going on their summer Olympic adventure. And the plan for when these are completed, which is why we kind of have to be careful with like how we approach sponsorships or whatnot, is to donate it to PEG, which is the International Repository for Public Educational and Governmental Television Stations. And these stations are usually pretty open to looking for good, high quality content. Not that the reruns of This Old House aren't awesome. They're great. And I know my dad still watches them every Sunday, but they usually are very open. And there is little to no cost for these television stations that are all across the country to, I think it's like 50 cents to $1 per episode or something. And that goes to PEG. It wouldn't come to us. But once we have this show put together, we are going to put it into that repository and then reach out to a lot of the markets. And I know in my proposal, I had just a few, but that's kind of the plan, is to reach out to even like Los Angeles area, Sacramento, Boise, St. Louis. And I know, being in the Midwest for 15 years, when people are looking at West Coast adventures, which a lot of people do, just to kind of get this on their radar. There's a lot of people that already come to the peninsula from all over the world and all over the country. So I just kind of want to get us, in front of them to take a look at. So that's kind of the end goal for the show, is to have it on as many national, in as many national markets as we can. And our sort of mission is that when we create this show, we want it to be very high quality. And for the first 3 episodes we did, a friend of ours who's worked for Food Network and HGTV and Travel Channel owed us a favor, and still does. So we actually got him to come up with his equipment and his expertise and have that very high quality, high production value filming, specifically of the food. So, because there's lots of, like, I can take a camera and I can go talk to people somewhere, but it's not going to look as good. It's not going to be as engaging as when you can see every little granule of sugar on top of the cookie, which is what makes people want to drive from Boise to have the cookie. That might just be me, but I think there's a lot of people out there. So that's kind of the goal of the show and our plan for how we plan to get it out into the world. We also are working with local hotels and different places on lodging to be able to kind of track, how did they hear about it? How successful? As part of this, it's going to be on our website with direct links to local area lodging. It'll be included at the end of the show as well. And just so that we can kind of see the impact, because I know that's one of the things that can be kind of difficult, is tracking that piece, but that's our current tracking plan. So don't know if there's additional questions or thoughts, concerns, advice on any of this. We'd love to hear kind of what the city's looking for.
Well, I do have a question, Jessica, and my question is on page 2 of your proposal. I see that you got funding from Grays Harbor LTAC, and Dark and Stormy is adding. But what you mention in the paragraph is that this funding is for procurement of equipment and crew. Is that correct?
And procurement might have been me trying to sound too fancy. Sorry. We did need to hire a professional videographer for this. So this wouldn't be equipment that we would own, but it's to procure their services. There's a lot of stuff that we can do ourselves internally. We can do the editing, we can do the sound design, we can do the outreach, but we wanted to be sure we had a professional dedicated to the actual assets that we're capturing, again, specifically of the food and of the area. So that's what, and I'm not even sure if you were asking about that, but that's what that is for.
Okay, so the $10,000 is for the staffing. Is that correct?
Yeah. It's to hire a videographer. We need to rent additional gear for lighting. And then there are some rates that we donated wholesale, and there were some of the rates that our company is providing at anywhere from 30 to 75% of a discount. And that entirety goes towards that.
And then you mentioned Grays Harbor, but in the proposal, it specifically states that this 10,240 would be specific to Ocean Shores, correct?
Correct. So the Grays Harbor LTAC funding that we received, they were very particular regarding other areas that have their own LTAC and what could be spent. So those 3 episodes were done in the larger Grays Harbor area and communities that don't have a dedicated LTAC. And so this would be specifically for Ocean Shores activities and businesses.
And then you mentioned that it was going to go into this repository type place that anyone could take it. Could it also be made available to the city as a city asset?
Yes, that is, and I'm so sorry, I should have hit that up. Yes, any business that we're working with, because these businesses are donating their time, their services, their space. So we are providing all of the assets to those individual businesses as well as the communities that we are filming in. And they'll have, non-exclusive copyright use for it.
So for instance, like I don't sell food at the Canterbury, but let's say you did the Thai place. Would it be, you're going to make it available to, per se, like the convention center or some city run entity so that I then can say, hey, I run a business in Ocean Shores and I want to highlight these things. And I would be able to, like, for instance, retrieve it from George per se.
Yeah.
Is that correct in theory?
Yeah. Yeah. Whatever city or entity we can leave that with. And we're also going to be covering not just the restaurants, but, the things to do. So, and we want to have a focus on the off and shoulder season. So like one of the things I know we want to do is feature the king tides. And so all the footage that we have of the king tides will be available for any Ocean Shores city or business or whoever to use. So if you want to use it in your own marketing, you've got those assets. Absolutely.
I have a question. With regards to working or selecting / working with the businesses, do you have some in mind? Is this what's your approach to working with these businesses in town?
No, 1000%. We are I know I'm a newcomer to Grays Harbor. I've only been here since 2017, which everyone keeps saying, oh, you're brand new. But we do have, almost a decade now of bringing in business clients from all over the country, friends, family, and whatnot. So a lot of and then just, talking to people and local recommendations and whatnot, we do have kind of our list of the places that we would want to feature. As part of this, we don't ever charge any of the businesses that we work with for this. We also don't accept any payment. So nobody can pay us to feature their restaurant and say it's the best, whatever. It all has to come like from the community. We do have our list of what we want to feature. And then it's just a matter, and we've talked to a couple to see who would be open to it. We have not set in stone, we will feature these 2 restaurants or these 3 restaurants if we can get things in. And I'm trying to not set that in stone just so there's not some kind of bias oh, we'll give them funding as long as they go to my favorite place. But it really is based on personal recommendations that we have received and from bringing people in town. We're very open to getting that feedback. It's on our website where we say, hey, suggest a place. It is something where we have to have a good experience that we've actually gone to, but that's a big thing too. As someone that was obsessed with these kinds of shows, there was nothing worse than going and it being a bad experience. Either the food wasn't that great so it's slightly bent to a personal bias, but we want to be very transparent and open to allow people to submit their own suggestions. I wish I had a more scientific answer for you, but that's kind of where we're at.
I think personally for me, having the transparency and allowing for the community to put their own feedback and having it open, at least to my perspective. I'm not sure how the rest of the community thinks about it, but I think that's really, really important. And not that we're going out just putting all our funds and budget and whatever into my select 3, for example, right? So that's just my thing. Just having the transparency is super important.
Yeah. And we're also have a component that'll be on the website and that we're weaving into the show. That's Foodie Confessions, which is anybody can submit their little selfie video of the most outrageous thing they did to get that great donut or the perfect pizza or whatnot. And we're hoping as we build that, we'll get more of those, that we can focus, on the Grays Harbor area for people that, I mean, I know I drove someone from Seattle to get a fritter from Little Richard's the first year I moved here. My husband, I'm 99% sure, loves me, but I think he moved here for the cheesecake at Emily's, because when I first brought him here, we went and that was just like hands down the best thing he'd had. So we really want to incorporate those very personal, genuine stories along with that transparency of what is it that people love about the area, and we want people to come and experience it.
Other questions?
I would be curious, and probably not but probably for the board. How is this really different than what we just awarded to Scott for?
Oh, so this is actually our private production company, for Dark and Stormy LLC. The Dark and Stormy Film Festival is the nonprofit event that has the focus of a 2-day short film festival that's going to be happening in mid-October. So they're pretty separate. This one is production, and it's focused specifically on year-round tourism with, things to do, places to go, stuff to eat. Whereas the film festival has a pretty targeted focus on bringing a large number of people for a specific event, and then also exposing filmmakers that are coming to see their short films and see in the area, to encourage them to come back and make their next film projects in the area. So one is specific to an event, and then this is more of a marketing, travel, educational thing for the area.
And I'm sorry, maybe you didn't understand the question. My question was, is we just awarded for somebody to do this pretty much basically the same thing, go around from business to business and do with the King 5 and all the other stuff. So what makes this different than that? I mean, why would we award a second time for?
And if that is the better solution, then we just wanted to think, we're trying to think of ways that our business could help the city. I do believe that the King 5 is specific to the Seattle area, whereas the goal is for it to be national and also for it to be repeated. So content, our end goal would be to get enough episodes that these stations in Sacramento or Spokane or Boise or St. Louis could put this into their revolving content, so that it would be something that is shown more than once and hopefully coordinated kind of seasonally with things that we have going on. I think that's probably the biggest difference. Instead of just doing a news spot on an area that's featuring the area, that it's a little more targeted, but also repeatable and with a wider reach. But I absolutely agree. As I was looking through proposals, I thought, well, this might not be the best fit for the city right now. So it's really whatever you all think is the best bang for your buck and will have the most impact.
Any other questions?
And also thank you very much for approving the bathroom refreshes at Point Brown. The minute I saw that, I'm like, I'll withdraw my application if we need money for that. That's going to be great for the city.
Thank you for acknowledging that. Any motion to approve, deny, partial?
I'm going to recuse myself because I'm kind of involved in this project. I think I should probably not. Not involved.
Can you tell us how North Beach TV would be involved?
Yeah, they want to, we work with them to do the putting the product on the PEG network, where people can download these programs for free. We get a lot of our programming from that source. And we'll also be playing the shows on a continuing basis on North Beach TV.
Okay.
I think cost.
Go ahead, Jen.
I think cost-wise, if it's truly accessible to people like Eugene and myself and businesses, and it is released and we could reproduce or use segments of it for our own marketing. It's a very low cost to the city for a lot of use that could be intended. Whether people use it or not is completely different, assuming it's good quality. I can't necessarily go use something King 5 has produced. And so there is a difference to me. I think it is low cost for what it's doing. So I'm a fan of it because, for instance, like at Oyhut Bay, they have, and I don't know if it's the same one, but when Chris was alive, he filmed a whole bunch of stuff for them. And they have it running on their TVs, or at least they used to.
They still do.
And it really showcases their area. So to be able to, have something where, like, we have a TV in our social room. If I had access to this, I could just keep it on a loop instead of a TV channel that's on DirecTV that no one really cares about. So for me, I would like to make a motion to approve it.
I would second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye. And I just want to comment, I could not agree more with Shannon here. I think also just the experiential, and as a foodie myself, I think this is a fantastic idea, and it's content that we could use. So I couldn't agree more. So yeah, all in favor for sure.
Can I ask for a secondary motion on this one specifically? Because you're talking about copyright and getting the agreements. Can we have a motion that their tourism promotional agreement specifically has a clause added to it or an extra document that says that they sign that?
I'd like to motion that as well, that we write into the agreement that it's for consumption of all Ocean Shores businesses and that it will be handed over to the city as an asset wherever you guys think is best. I don't care, but that way I know as a business where I could go retrieve it.
Do you have a second?
A second.
Yeah, second. Yeah.
Okay. All in favor of that motion?
Aye.
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 All right, thank you, Jessica.
Thank you so much and have a great rest of your afternoon. I can't wait for you all to see it.
Thank you.
Okay, number 15, 15 of 18. We're getting there. Harbor Havoc, Feast and Fury. Is Kenneth here?
Hello, everybody. Kenneth Upman Jr., owner of Rogue Wrestling Attractions LLC. I run professional wrestling events. Love doing them here in Ocean Shores. It's a fantastic venue. The goal with LTAC has never been to continue coming back to here. It's just to get off the ground, but we happen to run back onto the ground, so we're back here for another request.
Okay, and this request is for $10,000, correct?
Right. Well, if we could, I forgot to actually include the convention center in the paperwork, so we can stick with the original request, or it would be 11,500 was the official one, but that's your guys' call.
Well, can you explain for us what you're requesting?
So we have a proven product that is partial of the request is all the wrestlers and the talent and the security and the venue rental. But marketing is definitely where we're lacking the most because we have the proven product. We have the fans that absolutely love their experience here. They will stay in town, but we just need to be able to get more of a reach, more to the past Olympia, more into Seattle, more into Port Angeles area, to where we can bring those people into town and then give them a reason to actually stay overnight. Because we've done a 2-day show in the past where I don't believe the people that stayed the 2 nights were any better than the people that could stay just the 1 night, where we could pack more people for 1 night versus multiple people. I think, yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, so looking at the second page of your proposal, the project budget summary, you have, you don't have anything under city funds or other funds, you have total.
I may have missed.
So are those, what you have for the total, is that how you're breaking down what you're asking for the city?
Yes.
Okay, so under that you have 3,500 is for marketing
Correct.
and the 6,500 is other activities. What does
So that includes all of the wrestling talent, the security, uh, our music and audio, North Beach TV covering the event, just basic logistics of just running the show.
What were you spending on marketing before?
I don't have an exact number for you, but this is definitely what I proposed here would be one of our biggest spendings that we've done on it before. So definitely like Facebook ads, I think we've done maybe 500 at the most versus this one I'm asking for 1,000 to where we could double down on that. And then Facebook ads, I feel like it's easier to target once we have all the videos ready and we're just giving them to the whole area because there's only one place to come watch the show. And once you're watching the advertisements, you got to come to Ocean Shores. As all the fans are in town, the doors open at 6 o'clock and the show ends right around 9 to 10 o'clock. So the fans are forced to go all over town. So they're visiting different shops and locations and they're exploring the city.
And you said you believe 25%, projected 25% of attendees come from outside the local area?
Yes. Because I had a customer list in there somewhere. I don't
That
have an
list is included.
I don't have an exact ratio on what the numbers are, but highlighted in yellow is everybody 50 miles plus and everybody orange is outside of the state.
Do you have a projected number of attendees for the event?
To fully pack the convention center, once we have everything here, we're looking at about 450 to 500 people, and that's basically the goal every show. But our highest attendance was 330 February 2024, and we've been trying to match that ever since. And with this amount of marketing, I believe we can hit that 400 mark.
So again, on the project budget page, I'm looking at the chart at the bottom. And you're saying that your total income for the event is 9,700, but you're asking for the city to so you're contributing 3% to the cost of the event, and you're asking the city to contribute 97%? Is that?
That is the ask, but I am willing to accept whatever we're able to make happen. For future reference, I will clarify that and make it better. For future reference, I shouldn't be coming back because I don't want to say that on record either, but
I'm just doing some rough math. So I just took, sorry, my calculator just stopped. Okay, here we go. So 330 attendees, if you're claiming about 25% of that will stay, let's say, double occupancy, we're looking at 41 rooms to be sold within Ocean Shores, ADR, average daily rate of $100. We're looking at around 4,100, 25. So that's just like rough math. If obviously if you're anticipating more, that's more room nights for everyone. But it's just as part of the LTAC, we're not just looking at hoteliers. I think we're looking at everywhere else too. So I'm I'm more inclined for partial, but I would like to hear from the rest of the committee.
I think one of the questions that we do ask is how will you be making this a sustainable event in the future? If you're asking for the majority of your budget from LTAC.
So I guess more, I'm asking more of a safety net that I haven't had for other events that I've put on in the past, because so February 2025 was our last time that we received LTAC funding for the 2-day show. And then we were able to host the May show, and then were we back in November? So I believe we did 2 shows to follow up that, and then we also did March this year, where we just had our last show
So
here.
you got funding for a 2-day event, and then you've done 3 shows subsequently off whatever proceeds you made from that funding, if I'm understanding correctly.
They didn't quite.
We funded, right, for their request for that one that he's talking about in February.
What did we fund for that?
I think it was 8,000. So that was
For 8,000, you brought in essentially 3 more shows that produced not just heads and beds, but some ancillary tourism to restaurants and other things. So
that's what I was looking up, because I didn't remember November. So
He also hired North Beach TV to provide the play-by-play and screen support, so I don't know if I should recuse myself again.
if you weren't so involved in the community.
Because
you're.
Good, we're not gonna have everybody left.
No.
You know, I understand Eugene's point. I don't, because the convention center is not included in this $10,000. I wouldn't recommend reducing the funding because of what he's produced, the shows he's been able to produce off of the last LTAC ask.
So do we have a proposal then for funding?
I would make a motion to fund the 10,000.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. You have received the 10,000.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for your patience, Butch. It's Country at the Shores event.
Yeah.
Are you gonna sing for us?
No,
hope so.
you'd all leave if I did that.
Nice hat.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought I forgot to turn mine
Yeah, me too.
on. Same ring.
That's what everybody's been asking.
And this request is for $20,000.
When I filled out the application for this event, it was just an idea at the time, because it was kind of, one of our goals at North Beach Independent Media is to help put Ocean Shores on the map with entertainment. And we've kind of done that with our New Year's Eve party. It has grown every year. So he says, we want to do something more than just that. So I talked to George, and the only date that they really had open was August 29th. But I know it was in the peak season, but it happens to be probably the most off weekend of the summer. All right. So that kind of helped a little bit. And we're always bringing in bands in here, but there hasn't really been a country fest or whatever come in. So we're talking about doing a big country concert. I got 3 bands lined up for inside, but now this thing has started to expand, and we're kind of talking about doing a big chili cook-off during the day outside with an outdoor stage with more bands playing outside. So this thing has expanded quite a bit since my first idea of doing this. So it's going to be an all day and most of the night type of venture. I brought my buddy Randy here. He's doing our marketing. And we've learned a lot on marketing in the last 3 years. And so I'm going to have Randy do a little presentation for us on our marketing plan.
Okay.
Hello, everybody. Good day. Good day. Happy to be here. Again, my name is Randy Costello. I am the owner at PNW Web Designers and Marketing here in Ocean Shores. We do have an office here in Ocean Shores. There are 12 teams here throughout the Pacific Northwest. I have 4 of them here in Grays Harbor. Then folks in Renton, I have one all the way in Portland because we have clients there as well, and also all the way up north in Bothell area. So, but I definitely want to bring it back here in the heart of Ocean Shores, where I live, where my office is at, where my team's at. We do a lot of marketing services for companies in the harbor, such as Grays Harbor Public Health, to Big Brothers Big Sisters, North Beach TV, Sharky's Electrical Beach Bike, et cetera, et cetera. So we're here, but we're really behind the scenes. And when Butch invited me to come over here recently to go, hey, we would love to partner with you to get more folks to come to this event. It's a beautiful thing. How do we get people in Olympia? How do we get people in Seattle when they have events here? How do we get them here? And so we have three strategies that we're going to be doing on this marketing campaign. It isn't your boring Google ads. It isn't about Facebook ads. That's traditional. We love to do non-traditional marketing, right? And I'll give you one example, Social Proof. I funded my own event I wanted to do it here in Ocean Shores, but there wasn't a space available at the time that we needed it at. So we brought it to 7th Street Theater. We brought in over 225 people for a comedy event. And out of the 225, 48 of those were from out of town. And they stayed in the Aberdeen, Holcomb area. But I wanted to bring it here, but we couldn't. And we only marketed it for 3 weeks, and we made double digits in profit, right? So not only did we bring tourism here, but we also brought locals together, and that's what I believe that we could do here for this New Year's Eve bash that we could do here. If we start the marketing now, imagine what the impact that we could do for that when we only did 3 weeks of marketing for our own comedy event. And here's the caveat on that one. The comedian that I brought over is 72 years old. So my target audience was people 50s, mid 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. To get people out of there, right, and from their home to come to an evening show was a success for us because there was, like I said, over 200 people that showed up for that. So the 3 strategies that we're gonna do, which I coined this model, is called the birthday cake model, right? So when we have this here, and this is the strategy that we're going to use. Here's the birthday cake model, right? So we have our birthday here, birthday cake. Here's some candles going. This represents the event, the product, the service, whatever that is. This is right here. That's the birthday cake model, okay? Plus, here are the 3 strategies that we're going to be doing. And here's the end goal. One thing that we're going to be doing here is what I call appearance. Where are we going to market this birthday party, right? That's very critical. We got to know where these folks are going to hang out at. That's going to be attending this beach bash. So am I going to send this to teachers here? Yes, maybe. Who else is our audience, right? So that's one of our biggest strategy here. And people said this earlier today, and I've heard it the whole entire time. I've been in marketing for years, and I hear it all the time. People don't buy tickets, right? Someone said it earlier. They buy experience. How many times do we see $10,000 for tickets for Disneyland to bring the whole family, and we go, but it's the experience. We'll do it, put on a credit card. We'll do what we need to do, and then we go, right? It's the experience. So our strategy is not just a post ad. We're going to create an experience and talking about the event now. So that's a big plus that we're going to be doing. This experience involves, right? That experience involves us interviewing talent that's going to be there. We're going to do podcasts. We're going to do some interviews, bring audience closer and go, oh my God, that guy seems really neat. I want to go to that, right? So that's one example that we're going to do. The other piece is results. We do this we're going to get the results that we're looking for. And that's the attendance that we're aiming for. And that's our biggest thing here, where word of mouth, because here's the deal. This isn't just about 2026 event. We want the repeat customers, right? They're not right now, they're just interest. We want to create customers when they come back for 2027, 2028. Now, those are your customers. And what happens when things get spread around? People talk about it. Hey, let's go to that. When people, our job also with the experience and attention, our job is also to build a specific website. When people type in the search engine, what am I doing this New Year's Eve? Things to do New Year's Eve night. We better show up because that's what we're going to be doing. We want our event to show up. Yes.
My understanding is that we're not talking about New Year's Eve, though. We're talking about it's country at the
Right. Meaning like events and things like that, right?
Okay.
So when we're talking about that event in that one's in August, whether it's the New Year's Eve bash or the country music that's happening, we're going to create that. When there's things to do, what am I going to do this weekend? We are going to show up on that search engine, especially in Ocean Shores, and it reaches out in Thurston County. And so I work with a lot of businesses, and it's the same model that we use. When people are looking up for your service, is your website or is your service showing up based on their results or based on what they're looking for? So that's the answer. So for an example, let me show you this.
And Butch, can you clarify? We're talking about 6,000 for marketing. Is that correct?
Oh, no, we're probably talking 10 to 12,000 in marketing.
Okay, that's not what's listed.
I know.
The proposal.
You know, when I first made that proposal, it was just an idea coming up. I didn't have all my details in head.
So what is your request? I mean, this application has
For 20,000, right?
no, a total of 20,000.
Yeah.
And on your budget summary, you have $6,000 for marketing and promotion, and then 24,000 for other activities. But that's the total. But if I look under city funds that you're looking for 5,000 in marketing promotion and 15,000 in other activities. So before we proceed, can you just clarify those figures? The 5,000 for marketing and the 15,000?
Originally, we were just going to do a night concert here. And okay, now it's kind of expanded. And I do have another donor that's helping me with the expansion on it. So we're going to increase the amount of money we're going to spend for marketing.
Okay, but you're still asking for this application is for 5,000 for marketing and 15,000 for other activities.
Okay.
So what
you've requested and what they approve. So if this isn't clear, we cannot reimburse on that.
So like, let me break it down. So let's say you have a $20,000 pot. And you said 5,000 is for marketing. You can only submit invoices that I'll approve for $5,000, up to 5,000. If you spend 6, we haven't allocated it. So I think where they're going with this is, do you need to adjust these numbers? Like, I understand your pot is only going to be a $20,000 ask, but personally, depending on your other sources, do you want to change your marketing number to a higher number and lessen your other activities, or do you want to leave it how it is?
Leave it like it is.
Okay.
Okay. Let's not complicate the thing anymore than we're already.
Okay. And the other activities or what?
Well, we weren't talking about using the outside all day with the outdoor bands outside and chili cook-off. That was not in the original plan. Like I say, the original plan was we didn't really have much. We only wanted to do a country concert, but we didn't have anything really. I mean, it was pretty fast moving. I mean, I didn't have much time. So I was kind of guessing by golly on a lot of that thing, what was going to come out. But now we've had some time to review it after the application has been put in to figure out what we want to do.
So under other activities, submitted a receipt, it would be for chili cook-off items or bands?
Probably the bands.
Okay.
Okay, and let's say 5,000 for marketing. The rest, we're probably going to have at least about 10,000 of that's going to bands, and then we got the convention center. Plus, I don't know. I got off the top of my head. I can't think of everything, but probably more than that for the bands. The bands are now going to be probably closer to about 15,000.
So between bands and convention center, that's what you're estimating?
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, thanks for clearing that up because I didn't realize how that worked. So
It's just the reimbursement. It's just
it's what I applied for.
transparency.
Yeah. Okay.
So that we're not picking and choosing what we produce to the committee to.
Totally get it. Yep, I understand.
Okay, so are there any other questions?
One more thing.
Go ahead.
We are involved now with the Hotel Coalition. We are on their Zoom list every time they have a meeting. So anytime we have information coming up that we want to bring to the hotels or ask them questions, we're invited to those meetings to talk to them. So we would try to keep a close contact.
Okay, and actually, speaking of the hotels, under the hotels contacted to confirm attendance, you only have one listed?
Well, that's the only one I had at the time. I am now constant. That was before we got into the coalition.
Okay.
Hey, Butch, could you clarify your income here? You're showing $11,000 income, and we're spending $30,000 to put this on. Is there any other income that you haven't included in this that's going to help you change that deficit there?
Yes. He wants to stay anonymous. I have a donor.
Okay. Good. All right, good. That's all you needed to.
I have a question. It's actually really more geared towards Shannon since she's connected to the Canterbury. I mean, I think for us at the Comfort, like we're projecting a sellout. So is this, I'm just trying to think, is this by bringing in an event on that weekend, is it maybe that'll just boost ADR? Is that, I'm just trying to, it is during peak season, so I'm just trying to figure out in terms of like money coming in. Does it make sense for you?
I think you're very optimistic if you think you're going to be sold out all summer. There's a lot of ancillary.
I'm speaking, sure.
Like the gas price. I mean, personally, I feel like this summer in particular, having events on weekends is a huge draw, especially this is the weekend right before Labor Day, to my point previously. So it's a softer weekend. But I really feel like with like the expense of the economy right now, we can't bank on a typical summer right now. I think it wouldn't be prudent to. I'm not. So I hope I have a really good summer, but I don't know if, I notice right now my rates are lower than they have been for this time historically.
Yeah. Right.
So I'm hoping that corrects, but I welcome actually, especially this summer, having other things to do on the weekends to try and entice their experience here, just because I do think travel is going to be harder for people this year.
Well, and I think people can afford gas over airfare right now.
Correct.
So that's what we're kind of at the convention center level banking on, is that people can take weekend trips rather than
hopefully
Disneyland.
Yes.
Well, that's my optimistic look. Gas can be high, but you're not going to drive to Montana or Yellowstone now. You can drive 2 hours to the ocean shores.
Yeah.
That's I'm hoping for.
I mean, I know it's not going to be Coachella, but you might be on to some. I mean, there is a big country music following, so if the bands are halfway decent, you could.
Well, the bands we've got lined up that we're using are the top country bands in the Northwest. The ones that kind of go to the CMA over in Spokane and win awards and stuff. Those are the type of entertainment we're trying to bring in here that weekend.
Okay. Any other questions? Yeah, go ahead, Darren.
My notes on this thing is that it seems to me that you're trying to present Ocean Shores as a destination venue for some higher level music events. Kind of like going back to the days of what I would consider the Ginny Sims restaurant, where she would bring in some really big names, and you're trying to do this by a series of events?
Yes, and we're hoping that as we grow, we're going to bring in bigger names into town. That's the whole idea. I mean, right now we're kind of stuck with tribute bands and cover bands. This country festival will not be cover bands; they're regular country bands. So that's a step up. They may not be Zach Top or Laney Wilson or somebody, but eventually we're hoping. The problem we have with the bigger bands is the venue. These bands played arenas of 20, 30,000 people, and I'm going to stuff them in here with 1,000 people. So,
The big bands go to the fair too, and here,
Yeah.
and it's not, it can't hold that many people.
really,
Really?
yeah. Well, I don't mind bringing them in here if I get enough, money sponsored by LTAC and through donors and stuff. I'm willing to. I mean, we're not so much. Yes, everybody wants to make a profit off these. We want build up our war chest, but in reality, the last two New Year's Eve, we didn't make any money, but we felt it was successful. We put on something for the community here outside along with outside people. The problem with these things is you really can't charge enough admission to pay for the bigger bands, right? 'Cause most people, they're balking at $70 for a dinner and a whole night of entertainment. Local people were. But we still, those events, they cost about 35,000 to put on. I mean, they're not cheap events. So if you really want to make a profit, you'd have to charge a lot more than the 70, 75 bucks that we're going to be charging. But we try to keep the prices down as best as we can. We had New Year's Eve was really a surprise.
What are you selling the tickets for?
This year, we don't know yet. They're probably going to be fairly cheap, $20 or $30 a ticket to probably get in.
And
Yeah.
so my other question too, though, is if it's outside, are you gonna control tickets?
Oh, outside entertainment will be free.
Free, okay, and then inside is ticket.
Tickets.
Okay, so the better bands will be
It'll be
inside.
inside. And then we also got a chance of providing some nice big prizes for the chili cook-off winners. So what I heard, I don't quote me on this, but I heard it could be up to maybe $5,000 for the winner. So that might entice some good people to come in for a
I'd like to hear more about your specific marketing plan, because I think the 5,000 is kind of light.
Well, it is light. That's only me partial. I'm gonna have to dig into donor for more money for marketing. Marketing is gonna be probably about $10,000 when we get done with it.
What kind of stuff do you plan on doing?
Yeah, so our biggest thing, right, is really that community partnership. We always worry about the funds later. So it's like when Butch asked us, they were like, "Yeah, we'll figure out the rest later. We want a partnership. We want that community engagement. And that's what we're looking for." So part of the things that's worked for us in the past when we do this marketing specifically for this specific event, to be very exact to get that experience. What's worked out for us, for an example, when we did a comedy event in Hoquiam, we did an intimate podcast interview with the comedian a week prior to the event, so people can actually get that intimacy. Like, who is this comedian? Oh my gosh, she's hilarious. And I shared that with our contacts. All the way, people came over all the way from Ellensburg. That's a drive just to Grays Harbor alone, right? So with this one, let's just say it's I was thinking Laney Wilson, but Leah Justine. A lot of people have heard that name, but they don't know anything about her. Where we would have an intimate conversation. How did you get started, right? So people get to know this person and go, I want to go to that. And so that interview is that's going to be that piece. And then it's about the distribution of that, right? How do we distribute this in a low cost effective way? And so, sure, we like, there's Google Ads, there's that digital marketing platform, but we actually have a funnel that we go through, right? So that's reaching out to specific groups, country artists, bars. We have many micro influencers that's in the Olympia area that are centers, where I'm a firm believer, instead of spending money on corporate Google to say, hey, here's $2,000, go market this. I go to these local bartender and go, hey, Butch, you've known me for a long time. We're doing this event. Here's $100. Please market this for us for the next month. We'll go from there. No problem. So that's an example of just the community marketing that we do. It's like watching movies. People hear about this movies because what do? We all talk about it and then we go to it. So that's a little bit of a strategy that we're doing this specific event. And then I keep talking about the New Year's Eve because I'm excited about that one. And that's the biggest thing. And especially with tourism, what another strategy really quick is talking to hotels now and saying, hey, for an example, Canterbury, we anticipate 100 people. Can we work a deal out where you give 5% off or 10% off, where we then will go talk to our future customers and go, hey, book today before this date, you get 10% off, right? So that's, people are gonna be like, oh my gosh, yeah, anything, $1 off, $5 off, $200, something, will go, let's we create that fun urgency of like, let's do this now. Universal Studios always do it to us all the time. Book now and get 20% off. And what do? Book, 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 book. That's the same business model that we do. That's going to be very successful for August and also for future events that we're doing for the radio station. That was kind of a long-winded.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Yeah.
Do we have a motion now for the funding for its country?
I don't know if that's gonna be the name when I get done with it, but that's what I put on. I did it. Do I have to keep the name or can I keep? It might be Country Roundup or something like that when we get done.
And change it.
Reimbursement wise, because again, we're going back to like, this isn't, you're talking about how your marketing's going to be 10,000. George believes that the bands are going to cost more than 10,000 and the convention center is only 1,800. So like, do you want to put more towards marketing and more towards the bands? Because there's just like a couple ways that you can do that. Given that they're going to authorize the whole 20, like that would be how you would think about it. But again, the reimbursement part, we're not going to be able to reimburse.
She just wants to make sure you get reimbursed for everything. So do you want to do 10 and 10 to make?
Okay, let's do 10 and 10. The bands will be right around 10,000 and then the marketing will be around 10.
And then you'll just take care of
Everything else I'll take care of.
So marketing and bands. Because then that way, when she produces it to me, I can say, yep, and that goes to them.
If anybody asks, well, that's not gonna cover.
Anybody asks for blaming it on you either.
That's right. It's fine with me.
Okay, so a modification.
Just one more thing before you go. One of our marketing plans is using our own Ocean Shores cinema. We are doing short films, like 30-second spots that we're going to put up on the big screen all summer long. So all the tourists are coming to town will get advertising at the theater when they're there. They'll see it on the big screen.
Okay.
Right.
All right. So let's just adjust this. So I just want to be clear that everyone has heard that on page 2 of the application, we are adjusting the marketing promotion line under city funds to 10,000, and we are adjusting the other activities to 10,000. The total cost at 20,000 still remains the same. Okay.
Thanks, Sarah.
Yeah, thank you, Sarah. Do we have a motion to approve full or partial funding or to deny?
I'll make a motion to approve the funding.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
20,000 much.
Hey,
Thank
and
you.
Shannon, is it you I'll be talking to or somebody who's?
It's me now.
It's you now?
Yep.
Okay.
And
Are you official?
Dean too.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good day.
Okay, thank you, the presentation. David. Oh my goodness. Thank you for your patience. And the next proposal is for tourism banners for $2,728.
So our last couple of years, the banners have held up pretty good, but we need to retire them. And so I am doing the public thing, the public service position of going out and stirring up some money to replace them. Originally, when I started this, I had thought I would go and talk to all the businesses and have them sponsor one and have their names put on it. And I thought about it for a while. And the next thing I knew, Aberdeen had done just exactly that, right? With their yellow Explorer and the business names at the bottom. And I thought, oh God, I just don't like them. They look like a business advertisement or something, where I think for Ocean Shores, the look should be tourism, fun, colorful, and something that's eye-catching that'll blend into our medians and look nice when we have the flower pots and everything else up. So without even doing anything, I have commitments from 7 people that have said, come see me. So I know that I can raise that to 10. And because this was later in the season, I've come to you to ask for sponsorship of the other 20. There are 28 spots between Ocean Shores Boulevard and Chancellor Lamar. And I'm going to commandeer hopefully the 2 at the gates, closest to the gates, where on Point Brown, where we can do a welcome and then we can do a thank you for visiting. And then there'll be the other one, like I always enter the city on Shortcutty. It's just easier coming down Ocean Shores Boulevard. And there'll be another welcome there. So using a professional designer from banners.com, who we've bought the last ones, and they've done a great job for us. And they really have held up good for several years weather-wise. That we are working to do something very colorful for the background. And the theme that I would like to go with is our points of interest. So we would use the Weatherwax Trail, Duck Lake, the Grand Canal, North Jetty, clam tides, those kind of things. And we'll come up with 17 different areas that we would have on the banners. And also, a couple of them, I would like to incorporate the Explorer logo that is out now, so it will be seen more so in the city, right? Opposed to online stuff where they're doing their social media and doing a good job. And the visit as well. So incorporate those in. So that's the plan.
Okay. Any questions?
Yeah, I do. Are these banners, would it be like they just come up and they stay up all year long, or you're swapping them out?
They stay up through the tourist season. So they go up right after the graduates finish. The high school graduate, yep, their banners go up. And as soon as graduation is over, they pull them down and they put these up. So banners.com is really quick with the production and getting them out. It's a real quick turnaround.
My only question is the same one that we had about the honey buckets on the 501. But you're not.
I am not. So
is there a different? So I'm having a hard time with this because I helped you with the last ones.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that they're very beneficial to promoting different things within the town. And I think it just makes the town look nicer. So I'd like to fund it, but I have a problem with the way I don't see how we can. So my question is there a way to somehow divert it to?
Can the Great Gull be the business?
Well,
Is
I
that
don't
one
think
way
they
to do it?
can because it has to be a nonprofit.
Nonprofit.
But
could the city cut the check directly to banners.com and run it through the city? so that would be for the 20. The other 10 are basically donations from the businesses and individual people.
This to me is similar to the flower pots that we do. So Ron Lambert orders those every year for $3,000 and the city pays it out of its beautification budget. So I understand the tourism element, but it is like a beautification kind of project. So that's not necessarily an LTAC request. That's more of a talk to the mayor request.
Okay.
That's the way I just like envision this one, where it's really simple. The cost is low. It's beautification of our city. We already have money budgeted for the beautification.
Okay.
But that's just because that was my question too. There's no nonprofit or
How much is a banner?
They are 124, say $125. It's 120.
I'll sponsor too.
That's nice. Excellent. Thank you, Shannon. So just so you know, I did reach out to Denise and I did reach out to Frank. I said, is this the appropriate channel?
Mm-hmm.
And Denise's reply was, well, I think so. And I get that. And maybe, so that's why I'm here.
Yeah, no.
So, but if it was to,
I think this is definitely one channel if there was a nonprofit tied to it, but because it has strict rules, it might just be
Easier.
behoove us to do.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if it had been submitted by the marketing
Correct.
coalition.
Yeah.
Instead of the submitter being the Grey Gardens.
Correct. Had it been a nonprofit, it would just be, it is a tourism.
Because it is tourism related.
so unfortunately, one of the conversations we're having with the Hotel Coalition is exactly this. This year, do we become a 501(c) or organize ourselves legally? That this would be perfect. I would run it through that. So, but we're not there. The conversation hasn't been completed on that yet. So,
Well, I think this idea of welcoming banners to help give a positive first impression of visitors when you drive into town is an absolute genius idea. I really like it.
and over the last years, you've seen them up and they look really nice.
Yeah, it makes you feel good when you come into town. That's the whole thing.
I think you just need to get to Sarah and get her Frank to approve it.
Okay. All right. That's what I'll do.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, does the marketing coalition exist as a group?
No.
No.
I think we can navigate future requests in a different way, knowing what you know now. And this one, we could, between George and I, we could just take care of for, because we try to, or we want to do something anyway every year. So this will just be that thing.
I think I understood that.
Somebody had to.
So maybe a future year.
Yeah,
And that-
especially, no, we'll do it this year. The city will, not LTAC.
Got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
between George and I.
Okay.
And then in a
Okay.
future year, if you get the Hotel Coalition under 501(c), then you would submit under the Hotel Coalition.
Yep.
If that doesn't happen, then you have to go to Sarah and say, is there money in the beautification pot?
Got it.
One thing I'd like to see would be some examples of some past ones in your application, and then maybe some examples of what the future ones would be. So if they're changing the style and got this different look.
Yeah, I would definitely do it different. I would take pictures of the blank, the empty
Yeah.
post downtown and kind of make a whole presentation of it. But
I appreciate you doing this again.
Yeah, I appreciate it too, and I apologize for the misunderstanding. I didn't realize how it would be submitted.
Sure.
so this will
Yeah.
into 27, and then on
April
April 28th.
This is.
28. I thought you.
Yeah, it is good.
Dude,
Not today.
you're just counting your days.
I am counting my days. Okay, thank you guys. Oh, you guys, well,
Okay.
Well,
So we
should take a vote to deny.
yeah, we still do need to take a vote. Yeah.
I will
Can I have a motion?
second.
What a meeting.
I will come see you. I'll come see you.
Okay, all in favor of denying?
Aye.
Okay.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks,
All
David.
right. Thank you, David, for
Thank you.
the work and the idea. It looks like there is nobody here for this next one. Is there somebody online?
Knights of Columbus.
Is there anyone online to talk about the Camino Walk? Okay, I guess not. And this looks incomplete to me. There's nothing under amount requested. The budget, it appears as if they are asking for $1,000. But when you get to the bottom line of the budget, they're saying that the kits are costing $25, but there's going to be no income. The funding, I'm assuming they're asking for 66%, not 0.66%. But to me, this is incomplete. Does anyone else have questions or?
I think I agree with your incomplete, but I also don't see where this application would actually put heads in beds is, to me, even though it's a small amount. I mean, I just don't see somebody doing the walks in Ocean Shores and staying in Ocean Shores.
Yeah.
I think it's a great charity. I just don't think, like George said, it's actually going to put heads in beds, and I'm a stickler about the application.
I had a question about what are the Grays Harbor Hawks? That's one of the recipients for the.
Yeah, I think, yeah, a nice charity event. It seems to be a local weekly walk, but it's not even explained where the walks are. I know in the past, I had received a kit and the walks were all local within Ocean Shores. Yeah. Okay, a motion, this one?
Motion to deny it based on application and not really putting heads in beds.
Second.
Okay, all in favor to deny?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Thank you all for doing a marathon meeting.
Thank you for the break.
Yeah, that was needed.
Our future meeting is July 23rd. And motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to it.
Oh, we are adjourned.
Oh, God.